The following programs were originally aired live, long before the advent of high fidelity, and they were recorded using a variety of means, from direct recording onto early audio tape and glass records, to simply placing the microphone of a wire recorder in front of the speakers of a radio playing the program. I hope, however, that any variance in audio quality will not take away from your pleasure in listening to these, some of the all-time favorite shows.
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Next guest will give you the laughs, just don't ask him to lend you money. It's Jack Benny coming up next.
KFI, Los Angeles. Spellbound. David O. Selznick presents Ingrid Bergman and Gregory Peck in the screen's most masterful achievement in suspense, Alfred Hitchcock's Spellbound. See Spellbound today, Grauman's Chinese, Lowe's State, Fox, Uptown.
The Jack Benny Program, presented by
LSMFT, LSMFT, LSMFT.
That's right. You bet.
And how?
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
At 49, American.
Yes, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Here's what Mr. Joseph Cuthrell, independent tobacco auctioneer of Kinston, North Carolina, said.
No cigarette is any better than the tobacco that's bought for it. And at market after market, I've seen Lucky Strike consistently buy fine tobacco. Tobacco that is sweet as a nut, better aroma, thoroughly ripe and thoroughly mellow. So when it comes to my own cigarette, I naturally choose Lucky's.
Yes, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike. The Lucky Strike program, starring Jack Benny, with Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Rochester, Larry Stevens, and yours truly, Don Wilson. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we bring you the star of our program, a man who has successfully run the gamut of show business from A to Z, Jack Benny.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Hello again, this is Jack Benny talking, and Don, that was the nicest introduction you've ever given me. And you're absolutely right. My career has covered show business from A to Z.
From actor to zombie.
Mary, that wasn't a nice thing to... Mary, what's a zombie?
A zombie is a man who came to a fork in the road. He went one way and his blood went the other.
What?
That's right, Jack. A zombie is a man with hollow eyes, a vacant stare, and although he's really dead, he still walks around.
So that's... Mary, how many times have I told you not to mention Fred Allen on this program? I mean, especially so early. Let me get rolling first, you know.
Oh, Jack, you and Alan, I think it's about time you two stop picking on each other.
Well, it isn't as simple as that. This grudge goes way back to our vaudeville days. Alan was always mad because the audience used to throw things at him and they never threw anything at me.
What are you talking about? You learned how to play tennis by hitting the tomatoes back with your violin.
Tennis, Mary, you know that isn't true.
Then why did they book your act into Forest Hills?
They wanted a little music because Helen Wills was moody. Ad-lib with me, will you, sister? All right, what are you laughing at?
People don't throw things at
They
you.
don't.
Look what happened a few weeks ago when you played your violin at the Hollywood Bowl.
Mary.
At the end of the concert, you had so much fruit in your hair, you looked like Carmen Miranda.
Oh, stop making up a lot of things. Come in.
Mr. Benny,
Yes.
I'm from the San Fernando Valley Gazette.
Oh, are you a reporter?
Well, what do you think I am with this pencil in my ear? A desk set?
I always have to run into him. Well, what is it you want, Mr.
Schlagelmeyer.
Schlagelmeyer?
When you say that, smile.
Oh.
My paper sent me here to get a story about that contest you mentioned last week.
Well, Mr. Schlagelmeyer, I don't know any more about that contest than you do. Right now, I'm waiting for my press agent to come over and give us all the details.
Oh, well, then I'll hang around and take a few notes.
Well, we're trying to do a program, so why don't you just sit down, Mr. Schlagelmeyer?
Westbrook Schlagelmeyer.
All right. You know, Mary, people have been phoning me all week about this contest.
Well, Jack, what kind of a contest is it going to be?
I wish I knew. The whole thing is Steve Bradley's idea. Imagine me giving away $10,000.
I can't imagine it either.
That would jar San Fernando right out of the valley.
Schmagelmeyer, please. Anyway, it isn't that I care about the money.
I believe that, Jack. I think the whole idea about you being cheap is just a gag.
A gag, huh? Let me tell you something, Don. Jack doesn't trust anybody.
What?
When he goes to bed at night, he puts his money in his mouth and rubs alum on his lips.
I only did that once. Now, let's get on with the...
Pardon me, how do you spell alum?
A-L... Schlagelmeyer. This is not for publication.
Oh, Jack, what are you worried about? He's from such a small paper, the San Fernando Gazette. That has no circulation.
I beg your pardon, madam. My column is syndicated throughout.
Throughout what?
Anaheim, Azusa, and Cucamonga.
Listen, Schlaggy, I have a 93-year-old grandmother who has better circulation than you have. Now, please, let us get on with the program. Phil, get your band ready, and we'll have a... Phil.
Huh? You talking to me, Jackson?
Yeah, it's time for your band number.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Jackson, but you know how it is with these mystery magazines. You start reading, and then you can't put it down.
Oh, you're reading a mystery magazine. What's the name of it?
Who's Gordon?
Who's Gordon?
Yeah, see, it says so right here on the cover.
Phil, that's House and Garden. Who's Gordon? Look, Phil, just play a number, will you?
Okay, Jackson, okay. But first, I'd like to know more about that contest. What's it all about?
Phil, I don't know what it's about myself. It seems some silly idea my press agent has. He wants me to give away $10,000.
Jack giving away $10,000 like trying to strain the overalls out of Mrs. Murphy's chowder.
Oh, stop.
I wouldn't say that, Livy. I was out with Jackson the other night, and he picked up the check.
He did?
Yeah, he looked at it, added it up, it was correct, and handed it to me.
Now, listen.
Don't get conceited, Phil. He does that with everybody.
All right, kids, all right. Are you through?
No, I've got one.
You sit down.
You're just mad because my haircut is rounder than yours.
It is not. Now, will you please be quiet and let us get on with the... Oh, I'll get it. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Benny. Is my daddy there?
Your daddy? Oh, this must be Phil Harris's little girl. How are you, darling?
Fine.
And how's your mother?
She's fine, too. Right now she's in the living room sewing.
Sewing? Oh, is Mommy making you a cute little dress?
No, she's mending the rip on Daddy's pool table.
Oh, I see.
Can I talk to my daddy now?
Yes, darling. Phil, it's for you. It's your little daughter.
Oh, thanks, Jackson. Hand me the phone. Hello, honey.
Hello, Hotshot.
Look, how come you call me while I'm on the air, honey?
Well, Mommy made me call. She said I have to tell you I was a bad girl today.
No.
Yeah. I was playing around the phonograph and I pushed over a whole bunch of records.
But, baby, I've told you dozens of times never to go near those recordings. Now, did you break any of them?
Yes, I broke 26 records of. That's what I like about the South.
Oh, honey, that's awful.
I broke them right in the part that goes, ham hocks and turnip greens, you and me and New Orleans, and that's what I like about the South. Yeah.
Yes, sir, that's my girl that said that. You know, darling, when you were a little tiny baby, I used to sing you to sleep with that song.
Uh-huh, I could hardly wait to grow up.
Yeah, well, you better hang up now, sweetheart.
All right. Oh, Daddy, I've been listening to the program, and is Mr. Benny really going to give away $10,000?
Yes, darling, I think so.
This I gotta see.
Well, you'll find out. Look, darling, you better hang up now, and remember, your date Big Daddy loves your ittle-bitty babykins.
Oh, Daddy, you're so silly.
Yeah. Well, goodbye, honey.
Goodbye, hotshot.
Gee, she must be a cute kid.
She certainly is, Jack. I saw her the other day at the farmer's market with Alice. They were buying a head of cabbage.
Oh, gee, Livy, I wish I hadn't heard that. Now I know what I'm going to get for Christmas.
A head of cabbage for Christmas? That's ridiculous.
No, it ain't. I've got everything else.
You got a cabbage head, too.
You know, Phil, I wish I'd had a chance to talk to Alice because I know the perfect gift for Christmas.
We know, Don, we know. A carton of Lucky Strike cigarettes.
No, Jack, that's not it at all.
What? Not a carton of Lucky Strike cigarettes?
No, certainly not.
But, Don, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
Well, I know that, but the way I look at
Think,
it is...
man, think. LSMFT.
I can't help it. My mind's made up.
But, Don, what could be better for Christmas, for a Christmas gift than a carton of Lucky Strike cigarettes?
2 cartons, 1 for each stocking.
Oh, gee. Oh, boy. For a minute, I thought I was going to...
Jack, stop looking at your Social Security.
You know, it wouldn't hurt if we rehearsed this program. Phil, go ahead and play a number, will you? Okay, come on. Just Beyond the Rainbow from the newest Broadway hit, Are You With It? Played by Phil Harris and his 18 gentlemen. And now, folks...
Thanks, Jackson. I'm glad you called my boys gentlemen.
Well, I can't call them musicians. And now, folks...
Say, Jack, talking about Are You With It, didn't 2 of your writers write that show?
Yeah.
Well, you ought to be proud. What are you mad about?
Look, I give them the summer off. They go to New York, write a hit show, come back and make my life miserable.
What do you mean, Jack?
Every time they come in with a radio script and I happen to say that joke isn't funny, they tear out the page and jam it down my throat. They can stop already. I'm getting so round, so firm, so fully packed. When they say that's a belly laugh, they're not kidding.
Well, Jack, if you feel that way about your writers, why don't you get rid of them?
I can't. They've got me signed for 2 years yet. Oh, well.
Pardon me, how do you spell throat?
Schlag, will you please sit down? Now what? Hello?
Hello? I'd like to get some information about the contest you talked about last week.
Look, fella, I don't know anything about the contest yet. I've got to wait until my press agent gets here.
Well, when you get all the dope, will you please call me at MGM?
Oh, Metro Goldwyn Mayer?
No, Moe's Gypsy Motel.
Look, just listen in and you'll hear it. Goodbye. Wish people wouldn't bother me in the middle of a show. I'm going to tell the operator not to let any more calls come through.
Oh, Mabel, what is it, Gertrude? Look at your switchboard. Mr. Benny's line is flashing. Oh, yeah, I wonder what Lady Esther wants now. I'll find out. Yes, Mr. Benny? All right, no more calls unless they're important. What? No, I'm busy tonight. Say, Mabel, I wonder what kind of a contest he's going to have. Yeah, I can't imagine Mr. Benny giving away $10,000. Neither can I. I'll bet he marries the winner. But supposing a man wins it? If I know Mr. Benny, he'll dress up like Charlie's aunt, have an early ceremony, and make a quick trip to Reno. Yeah, I'll bet he would. Say, Gertrude, I wonder what Mr. Benny puts on his lips. Why? I went out with them once, kissed him goodnight, and I couldn't open my mouth for 3 days. Why, Mabel Flapsaddle, you just made that up. No, Gertrude, it's the truth. Cross my switchboard and hope to dial Van Johnson. Gee, Van Johnson, what a face. 2 baby blue eyes gazing out through a cluster of beautiful freckles. Stop talking about him. My nostrils are twitching. You know, Gertrude, he's the answer to National Broadcasting Company. I'm sorry, but Mr. Benny cannot be disturbed. You're welcome.
Oh, for heaven's sake. Hello?
You had a call, Mr. Benny, but I didn't let them disturb you.
Well, thanks. Thanks a lot. That Mabel Flapsaddle is so silly. Hasn't got a brain in her snood.
Say, Jack, I wish your press agent Steve Bradley would get here. I'm kind of anxious to know about that contest.
So am I. I can't understand what's keeping... Oh, my goodness. How many times do I have to tell that operator to... Look, if you don't stop calling, I won't take you dancing anymore.
Oh, boss, come now.
What?
Hello, Mr. Benny, this is Rochester.
Now he tells me. What do you want, Rochester?
I called to tell you there's been a little excitement here at the house.
Excitement? What happened?
Well, the milkman turned his truck into our driveway and it got loose from him and ran all over the front yard.
Did he hit anything?
You know that big willow tree by the house?
Yes?
Well, it's really got something to weep about now.
Oh, my goodness.
Then he bounced off the tree and knocked over the bird bath.
The bird bath?
Yeah, and I just hung up clean guest towels.
Wouldn't you know it? What else happened?
Then he crashed into the front of the house and broke milk bottles all over the place.
You mean my front lawn is covered with broken milk bottles?
Milk bottles, policemen, and cats.
Holy smoke, I can imagine what my lawn looks like.
Yeah, you ought to see those cats lapping up the milk and spitting out the grass.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Not only that, a cocker spaniel ran up on the lawn and jumped right into the middle of everything.
Good. Did the Cocker Spaniel chase the cats off?
Chase them off. They're using his ears for napkins.
Rochester, stop being funny.
Do you really want me to?
No, go on. Anyway, I don't believe a word of this.
It's true, boss. It happened about 2 hours ago.
Well, what's on the lawn now?
Broken bottles and fat cats.
Roll them off, and I'll be home right after the broadcast. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye, that is.
I never saw anything like it. Every time I leave the house, something happens.
What happened now?
A delivery truck got loose on my front lawn and broke about 100-quart bottle.
No, Jackson, no.
Phil, it was milk.
Oh.
I knew it wouldn't worry you too much in there. Anyway, when I get home, I've got a lot of things. Oh, come in.
Hi, buddy. Hello, everybody. Hello. It's me, Bradley, Steve Bradley.
Well, Steve, it's about time you got here. I've been up in the air all week about this contest idea of yours.
Now, wait till you hear this. Sit down, everybody. Sit down. Let me do the talking. Now, about this contest, Benny, this is the greatest thing to hit radio since LS was introduced to MFT.
All right. What is it?
Pardon me. How do you spell MFT?
Quiet, Slob. Go ahead, Steve.
All right, listen, Benny, and listen carefully.
Yes. What's the contest?
I'm coming to that. Now, for years, programs have been having contests. They ask the listeners to write letters on why I like this, why I like that, why I like so-and-so, why I like such and such. People are tired of that stuff. I got something brand new, something that people will enjoy.
All right, what is it?
We're going to ask people all over this country to write in letters in 25 words or less.
Yes?
Telling us why they can't stand Jack Benny.
What? Steve, would you mind repeating that?
Gladly. We're going to ask people to write in letters finishing this simple sentence. I can't stand Jack Benny because.
Steve, look at me. Look at me! Have you lost your mind? Have you gone crazy asking people to do that? Why, people like me. They love me.
Wait a minute, Benny, wait a minute.
What?
How many people listen to you every Sunday?
Well, about 30 million.
And how many people are there in the United States?
Well, about 130 million.
There you are. That means that 100 million people don't like you.
What? 100 million people don't like me?
And that's only in this country.
But, Steve, you mean to say that 100 million people don't like me?
100,000,001.
Huh?
Don't let this smile fool you.
Slob.
How do you spell fool?
Sit down!
Yes, you Benny, this contest will sweep the nation.
But, Steve, gee, I don't mind if people write in letters why they like Jack Benny, but you've got that awful phrase in there, I can't stand Jack Benny. I mean, can't stand is too hard.
Hey, Jackson, how about despise?
You stay out! Mary, you talk to Steve, will you? Tell him how crazy this whole idea is. I can't do a contest like that.
Oh, wait a minute, Jack. Maybe it's not so bad. At least it's different.
But, Mary, all those people saying they can't stand me.
Well, look at Fred Allen. He's been saying that for years.
Well, he knows me. I mean, Allen, he should know better.
But, Jackson, there are a lot of other people that feel like Fred Allen does.
Certainly. Now, this will give them a chance to put down on paper what they've been thinking for 14 years.
And for that, I should give away $10,000? I've got an old bridge lamp I'm not using. I mean, wouldn't that be...
No, Benny, it's got to be $10,000, and what's more, it's going to be in victory bonds.
Oh. Well, I like the idea of victory bonds, but... Oh, Mary, I can't go through with a thing like this.
Why not, Jack? I think it's a wonderful idea.
Me too, Jackson.
I like it very much.
I love it, but it's too easy.
I don't know what to do. I mean, I mean, it's so horrible. I mean, Steve, give me the details again, will you?
All right, listen. People write in letters. I can't stand Jack Benny because, in 25 words or less.
Do you think they can get it all in 25 words?
Yeah.
All right, then I'll write 50 words.
50 words?
Well, that lets me out.
I don't know. This sounds so ridiculous. $10,000 for writing a letter. I can't stand Jack Benny because...
Jack, put down that pencil. You can't be in it.
Can't they write it in on dollar bills or something? Well, if I'm going to give away victory bonds, I've got as much right to try and win as anybody else. Anyway, I'm not going through it.
Oh, yes, you are. Go ahead, Wilson. Read that announcement I gave you.
But, Steve, let's talk it over a little more.
Too late for that. Go ahead, Wilson. Read it.
Oh.
Okay. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this contest is actually taking place and starts right now.
But, Steve...
Now, listen closely. Here are the details. To enter this contest, all you have to do is write a letter completing this sentence in 50 words or less. I can't stand Jack Benny because...
But, Don...
$10,000 in victory bonds will be awarded for the letters containing the best stated and most convincing reasons.
Mary, do something, will you?
Quiet, Jack. I'm taking this down.
Oh. I'm sorry.
The first prize will be $2,500 in victory bonds. The second prize, $1,500 in victory bonds. The third prize, a $1,000 victory bond.
Look.
And there are 50 additional prizes of $100 victory bonds each. These are all par value bonds. They're worth their face value when you receive them.
Look, how can I go through with this?
All letters become the property of Jack Benny, and no letters will be returned. The decision of the judges will be final, and the supreme judge will be the Honorable Fred Allen.
Fred Allen?
And his decision will be final.
Oh, no. No, I mean, how can they do this to me? I'm really a nice guy. I grow flowers. I pat little kids on the head. I give milk to cats. How can they do this to me?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this contest is open to everybody except the employees of the American Tobacco Company, its agents, the National Broadcasting Company, and Jack Benny's relatives.
My father will kill me. This is awful. I mean,
All you have to do is complete this sentence in 50 words or less. I can't stand Jack Benny because.
Oh, my God.
Then mail your letter to the Jack Benny Contest, Hollywood 28, California. Remember, the Jack Benny Contest, Hollywood 28, California. This contest is subject to all federal and state laws and regulations. The termination date of the contest will be announced on a subsequent program.
Oh, wait a minute, Don. Suppose there's a tie.
Yeah, Steve, suppose there's a tie.
That's impossible, Benny. People can't stand you for different reasons.
I know.
In case of a tie, duplicate prizes will be awarded.
Duplicate prizes? Mary, Phil, say something.
Okay, play, boys.
I ought to have my head examined.
How do you spell examine?
Oh, sit down!
Ladies and gentlemen, thousands of thoughtful and grateful Americans are giving Christmas presents to hospitalized servicemen this year. There's one important thing to think of in selecting a gift. It should be appropriate. How can we determine what's appropriate and what isn't? By consulting the camp and hospital committee of your local Red Cross chapter. They'll tell you what types of gifts will best fit the needs of the men. And please remember, if you're mailing the present, do it by December 10th or earlier, if possible.
Jack
Thank
Benny
you.
will be back in just a minute, but first, here is my good friend, L.A. Speed Riggs.
In a cigarette, it's the tobacco that counts. And Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
That's it. LSMFT.
Yes, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. The finer, the lighter, the naturally milder Lucky Strike tobacco.
You said it. LSMFT.
This fine Lucky Strike tobacco means real deep-down smoking enjoyment for you. So smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
The famous tobacco auctioneers heard on tonight's program are Mr. F.E. Boone of Lexington, Kentucky.
At 49 out of 49, American.
And Mr. L.A. Speed Riggs of Goldsboro, North Carolina. And this is Basil Rysdale for Lucky Strike. LSMFT, LSMFT, LSMFT.
It takes fine tobacco to make a fine cigarette. So smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike. So round, so firm, so fully packed. So free and easy on the draw.
Phil, I'll rub his wrist while you pour that cold water on his forehead.
Okay. Oh.
He's coming around, Phil. Do you feel better, Jack?
Yes, I guess so.
Say, look, Jackson, 3,000 letters came in yesterday telling why they couldn't stand you.
That's my regular fan mail. That don't count. Mary, I'm too weak. You say it.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Thanks.
Don't delay, folks. Write those letters tonight. Finish the sentence, I can't stand Jack Benny because, in 50 words or less. And mail it to the Jack Benny Contest, Hollywood 28, California.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Lights Out is up next on nightly old-time radio shows.
Ironized Yeast presents Lights Out. Everybody. It is later than you think.
This is Arch Obler. Tonight, the makers of Ironized Yeast bring you a story not of imaginary terrors. No, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's play will thrill and chill you beyond any power of the supernatural, because this story is based on cruel, grim reality. So tonight we urge you not to avoid this excitement and tension. Rather, we urge you to turn your radios up and listen as you've never did before.
Herr Himmler.
Heil Hitler. Well, mein Führer, I have the report. Now, look here, Herr Hitler. It's no use getting so red in the face. That won't help anything. What's happened, happened. And as long as we know why it happened, I'll see to it won't happen again. So nothing is lost and something is gained. Now, here, I have the report here. It arrived by courier only 5 minutes ago. I rushed it right up. Didn't even stop to read it myself. So, I will read. Official report on the Renoir incident as made by Captain Hans Mauchlich to Major Heinrich von Trobberitz, commanding officer 3rd Division Army of Occupation at Headquarters Paris. Heil Hitler. I, Hans Mauchlich, Captain, member of Elite Guard assigned to 3rd Division Army Occupation, being in my right mind and in full realization of the consequences to me, make the following statement. On the day of April 7th at 2 o'clock in the morning, Sergeant Karl Fischl, while on patrol duty in the town of Renoir, was shot at by unidentified woman and slightly wounded in the left thigh. In accordance with orders
radioed from Paris headquarters, I at once placed the entire population of Renoir under arrest, and in accordance with further orders received, collected 50 female hostages to be hanged in the village square unless the criminal who had shot Sergeant Fischl was turned over to me at once. These French women were placed in the basement of the town hall, and precisely at sundown, having assembled the populace in the public square, I mounted the scaffold platform which had been erected there and spoke to this village of criminals. Attention! Attention! I warn you, no disturbances, or I will give the order to fire. Now, for the last time, who among you is guilty of this crime? Speak! So, very well. The next time, every man and woman in this town will be deported for hard labor in the Reich. This time, we will proceed with the executions. Silence! Sergeant, the first prisoner. At this point in my report, may I explain that the 50 women to be executed had been picked at random by squads sent through the town a few hours before. I personally knew none of them, but I personally counted them as they entered the place of imprisonment, and I personally posted the guard. That I know.
The first prisoner.
Bind her hands up to the platform. Noose around her neck. So. Tighten the rope. Place her on the trap door. So. The prisoner will lift her head. Lift your head. Look at me. At this point in the report, may I describe the prisoner? Sex, female. Age, indeterminate. Clothes, indeterminate. She lifted her face as ordered. Then a strange thing happened. She smiled. Yes, smiled. You smile? Why do you smile? Very well, the trap door. Hang her.
Herr Captain.
Well?
Her neck is broken.
Do not cut her down yet. People of the town of Renoir, the first of your women hangs here. The first evidence that to harm a soldier of the Holy Reich means death. Certain death. Remove the body. Bring out the next prisoner. At this point in my report, may I explain my plan? To hang was not enough. No. These Frenchmen and their women and their children must learn their lesson in a way they would never forget. One by one, the women would be brought out. One by one, they would stand on the platform. One by one, the rope around the neck, the trap door, the body twisting and turning in death. Coming through that door, climbing then to the scaffold, and dying. 50 of them, and it would take hours. And these Frenchmen and these French women and their children would never forget this lesson. Bring her here over the trap door. Rope around her neck. No, do not bind this one. It is better that they out there see her dance at the end of the rope. The other died too quickly. Ready?
Yes, Captain.
The prisoner will lift her face. Lift your face. Your face. You are related to the one who just died. Answer me. Very well. People of Renoir, you see before you the second of you who is to die for the crime against the Reich. This one, I can see, is related to the first. A sister, perhaps. It will not save her. The crime must be avenged. You laugh? Hang her.
Herr Captain, her neck is broken.
Broken? So small a woman? Why should... Sergeant, they drop too far. Shorten the rope. Let them struggle before they die. The next prisoner. At this point in my report, may I state that all day it had been threatening rain. In spite of that fact, I had not felt it good psychology to postpone the executions. At this point, the time was 4:30, and the sky was getting quite dark, but I was determined to complete the executions. By the time the next woman stood on the scaffold, it was very dark. People of Renoir, the third criminal to die for the crime against the Reich. The crime must be avenged. You laugh too? Why? You're going to die? Why do you laugh?
You will know.
Hang her. At this point in my report, I will state that this woman did not die easily. I could tell that from the faces of the people and the animal cries that came to their lips as they watched this woman of theirs flinging about at the end of the rope. I was quite pleased. Silence, silence! Well, people of Renoir, she thought she would not die. You see, she is dead. There is no escape from the vengeance of the Reich. Bring up the next one. Stop that drum. Yes, people of Renoir, there is no escape from the power of the Third Reich. Today over all Europe, tomorrow over all the world. What power is there to stop us? All right, bring the prisoner up here, quickly. At this point in my report, may I say it was darker than before. The clouds. There was a feeling of an electrical storm in the air. Hurry her up there, hurry her up! Sergeant, turn on the floodlights. Let no one move. Shoot down anyone who tries to leave the square. Do not think the storm will make any difference. Here you are, and here all of you will stay until the last one of your criminals is hanged. All right, soldier, do not stand there. The noose, put it around her neck.
No.
Soldier, are you out of your mind? Why do you stand there? What is it?
Look at her. Look at her.
At this point in my report, I wish to state that I am not sure if I am in my right mind completely now. But at the time I am speaking of, I knew exactly what I was hearing and seeing.
Captain, look at her. I tell you, look at her.
You?
Sergeant.
Yes, Captain.
The bodies, are they down there?
Yes, Captain.
How many? Answer me, how many?
3.
3?
3.
So, you, woman, you think you make jokes with me? You are of the same family. Yes, that is it. You are of the same... Hey, At this point in my report, I will state only that I immediately ordered the next prisoner up to the scaffold. The 5th prisoner.
Captain, this one, the same?
You crazy fool, how can that be? Here, the searchlight, here. No. You are not... How can that be? Sergeant, how many now? The truth, tell me the truth.
4. 4, Captain.
The truth, I order you.
4 bodies, I swear it, Captain.
And their faces. Look at their faces. Answer me, their faces.
All the same, Captain. The same.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment now to look around to reassure ourselves that we are where we are in the free America of today, where thousands of people are able to say,
Man, oh man, am I going good. Making more money than I ever did. Sure, taxes are tough, and I'm putting my 10% in war bonds. But even so, I've got plenty left to spend for fun.
To spend for fun? You think our fighting men in Africa are having fun? Was it fun for our boys at Guadalcanal fighting off the Japs from foxholes? Being shot down in flames over Berlin, is that fun?
Why, no, but like I said, I'm putting my 10% in war bonds.
This is no 10% war, my friend. Our servicemen are fighting at 100%. And that's exactly why the news from Africa is good, why we won at Guadalcanal, why we're moving toward the offensive on other fronts. Do you want more American victories? Do you want our men to march into Berlin at the earliest possible moment?
Why, yes, of course.
Then back them up as they are fighting for us, 100%. Put that money you've got for fun into more war bonds. War is expensive, and if we hold back here on the home front, we'll needlessly prolong the war, thus throwing away thousands of American lives. Are dollars for fun more precious than the lives of American fighting men, of your fighting man? You know they're not. And remember, friends, the quicker the victory, the fewer lives lost. And if we want victory sooner, every American of us must do more. So go to your nearest bank or post office, wherever war bonds are sold in your town, and put every cent you don't really need into bonds. Do it for your own sake and for the sake of our fighting men. They give their lives. We must lend our money.
At this point in my report, I say only that it began to rain. A terrible rain. And we stood there in the rain. The people all round the scaffold, my soldiers, and on the platform the hangman and I, and the woman. All the same.
You hang for vengeance, don't you, Nazi? One German soldier shot at by a French woman who had the blessed right to kill him. And you think you will have the vengeance with 50?
Laugh. It's always the same.
Shall I tell you about vengeance, Captain? You Germans think you know all about it. But let me tell you of the real vengeance.
At this point in my report, I will tell you of my thoughts. These women, the same, was not possible. I left the scaffold and went below to where the bodies lay. With my flashlight, I looked. Broken necks. The faces quite the same. I shut off the light. I climbed back to the scaffold. I was not disturbed, because now I understood. The families of these French were large, and all these were sisters. 5 sisters. Yes, trying to frighten me. Well, that was ended with their broken necks. I ordered out the next woman for her execution. People of Renoir, there will be no further demonstrations of any sort. You will stand there in the rain until all your women criminals are dead. 5 sisters have died. And I am certain that is the end of that family. And who is this frightened one with her hands in front of her face? All right, keep them there. Corporal, get the new noose around her neck. Hang her quickly. What? Her face. Another one. Oh, you French, such families. Worthy of we Germans. But we have men, and you give birth to useless women. 6 women, and all of them born to be hanged.
Shall I tell you about vengeance, Nazi?
What?
You Germans think you know all about it. But let me tell you of the real vengeance.
Captain, the other one said those words.
Shut your mouth. You, woman, how do you know the words your sister said?
I said them.
How could you?
You think you know about vengeance, you Germans. Well, you don't. Vengeance, too, has to be based on truth. And what is your vengeance? You began a war once and lost it. To whom did you lose it? To these little people? To that little rabbi whose back you broke in a concentration camp? To that little child who suffocated under her mother's body in Poland?
Hang her! At this point in my report, I state only that I made sure this one hanged until she was dead. And then I waited a little while before I ordered the next one out. The rain was very heavy. All the people stood there in the square below the scaffold, heads bowed to the rain. And in the light of the searchlights, they and the soldiers guarding them were like living dead, standing there unburied.
Captain, this one, she's the same.
What? Liar, bring her up here.
No, you hanged her and she's not dead. Not dead. Who is he? Run for your lives. Run. Run.
Bring her up here. She is not the same. She can't be the same one. Turn the searchlights on her.
The same one? Run!
Stand where you are. Men open fire. Shoot them down. Sergeant Corporal, where are you running? Stand, soldiers. Do not run. I order. The lights. Why did you turn out the searchlights? Turn them on. I order you to turn them on. My soldiers. Gone.
Are you frightened, Captain? Put the rope around my neck.
You are not the same. I saw you hang.
Put the noose around my neck.
The bodies. I can see them down there.
Hang me. You want your vengeance. 50 times the rope must stretch. 50 bodies piled like cordwood. And you call that vengeance? Shall I tell you of vengeance, Nazi? The vengeance of the people of the murdered republics. What was their crime? They wanted freedom from poverty. And your battleships stood off their shores, and your airplanes filled their skies and gave them blood to drink. Their own. The vengeance of the people of Poland. What was their crime? They wanted to live, just to live. So the treads of your tanks ground them into the dirt, and then your bombs lifted them out of the dirt. The vengeance of the people of Belgium, whose crime was that they were weary of a battle they did not quite understand because you had given them confusion. And so you stripped them of human dignity and made them slaves to live on bloody knees before the masters of your Reich. The vengeance of Holland. Oh, that will be a horrible vengeance, Nazi. For their crime was the crime of being men, of standing up and saying, this is our land and this is our freedom. Dare take them from us. So you swept over them. And when they could no longer fight, you took your vengeance by the murder of 40,000 of them. And the vengeance of Great Britain. Oh, that will be a terrible vengeance, Nazi. It will be a vengeance that will...
Oh. I will hang you. Rope around your neck. Now talk. At this point in my report, I swear by the grave of my mother I tell the truth. I hanged this woman with my own hands. I made sure that she was dead. And then I reached down and cut the rope, and I heard the body fall below in the dark. But when I got up off my knees and stood up on the scaffold again, another woman was there, and it was she.
The vengeance of Norway. Theirs, too, was the crime of free men content to live on their own land. And you put a swastika over their crosses and murdered their sons and starved their children. And the vengeance of the Balkans. So many vengeances, Nazi. Did you ever think of them? You with your little vengeances against the helpless, the women, the children. Did you ever think of this moving mountain of great vengeance that is sweeping toward you? The vengeance of the Russians, whose crime was that they wanted their own freedom, their own way, and who saw the hard work of 20 years ground under your Panzers and your Stukas. Oh, Nazi, theirs will be a terrible vengeance. Theirs will be...
And then there was another one. Another, but the same.
And the vengeance of the Americans. Their crime, that they were strong and they didn't like you and they laughed at you. And then their laughter turned to anger, and you were afraid of their anger, so you lifted another one's hand and gave them the treachery of a knife thrust in the back. And you drowned their men in the seas, and you...
I can report only what I saw. The trapdoor fell. She, too, was gone. The rope twisting and turning, and I was alone on the scaffold. Alone. I was alone. Yes, the rope twisting and turning, and I was alone. And then, who shall I swear this on? What do I believe in to swear this on? I heard footsteps coming up the steps to the scaffold, and I ran to the edge, and I looked. The lightning flashes were quick, one after the other, and by them I saw that I had hanged 8, and there were 42 left. And now they were coming up the stairs, these 42, one after the other, in a line that reached back across the square, coming to me. Who are you? What do you want? I report this. They came on the platform, one after the other. The scaffold moved under the weight of them. And then the lightning came again. And I saw all of them. She.
Poland, Belgium, Holland, Norway, Greece, Yugoslavia, Russia, Britain, America. I tell you, Nazi, no matter what the clever ones try to do at the peace tables, the people will not forget their vengeance. They will not forget their dead children and their dead wives and their dead sons and their dead mothers and their dead sisters and their dead lovers and their dead hopes and their dead wasted years. They will not stop at the borders of your Germany this time. They will march into it, into your Germany, the people. And their vengeance will be on every one of you who traded the cross for the swastika, and the great God of humanity for the little man who thought he was God.
Who are you? I report only this one last thing. As I asked the words, "Who are you?" suddenly it was no longer all these women speaking with one mouth, but in the rain and the lightning, I saw them moving together, and all of them began to become one woman, a terrible thing that grew and grew into the air. I lifted my face to see. The lightning crashed about the top of her, and it was still that woman, towering higher and higher into the air. And when she spoke, her voice was the thunder.
Listen to me, Nazi. When that vengeance comes, you shall not hide behind your little man. For his crimes are his crimes, and your crimes are yours. And each must pay for his crimes.
Who are you?
For the good people of this world will not die this time in vain. This time the vengeance will be their vengeance, and the everlasting peace their peace.
Who are you? I report, I asked that, and suddenly I was lifted in the air. There was thunder and lightning around me, too, and up where I was, her voice was a whisper.
I am a French woman who stayed away from my own land too long. So long that some of my countrymen had forgotten that even the memory of me lives only where men fight for me.
Who are you? I closed my report. This Frenchwoman told me her name, and she told me a place. Through the thunder crash I heard her. And then the lightning struck, and I was falling through the air. And when I awoke, it was morning, and she was not there. And the scaffold was burned to the ground, and there were no bodies, and the village square was empty. This is the end of my report.
Can you imagine such a report, mein Führer? A woman who grows into the sky. Of course, the man will be shot. Wait a minute. There seems to be an addition to the report. It says, note, the French woman said she could be found at latitude 41 degrees north and at longitude 74 degrees west. Investigation indicates this is a place in the Western Hemisphere known as Bedloes Island. Further investigation indicates that there is only one French woman on this island. She is called the Statue of Liberty?
I see what you mean, Mr. Obler. The Nazis can kill people, but they can never kill the spirit of victory.
Yes, we've seen that proved over and over again in this war. We know how men, women, and children in France and Holland and Norway and every other country that's come under the Nazi heel are fighting back in every way possible. But we know equally well that the will to win is not enough. You can't fight the Japs or the Nazis with courage alone. The only way to fight these murderers effectively is in the language of bombs and bullets. Now, we on the home front who sleep in our comfortable beds and eat good meals in spite of shortages, we're being asked only to send our money to back up those who are fighting for our freedom. Now, if a Nazi isn't outside your door waiting to take you off to a concentration camp because you pray to your God on Sunday, or if a Jap isn't waiting with an executioner's sword, stained with the blood of an American aviator to cut off your head, it's only because all over the world men and women of courage are fighting your battle. So the next time you take out $1 and think, oh, what can I buy now? Think again. Is there anything I want more than I want a world of peace and justice and security of loved ones back home again? And then do what your heart and mind tell you must do. Put every dollar and dime you don't need for actual necessities into this fight by putting them into war bonds and stamps. This may be our last chance to buy the right to live as free men.
Thank you, Mr. Obler. Friends, the makers of ironized yeast have been very happy to dedicate tonight's program to our government's second war loan drive. And now, Mr. Obler, can you tell us a little about next week's story?
Well, before I do that, I'd like to personally thank the ironized yeast folks for giving me the opportunity of presenting this play to you tonight. A word of thanks, too, to Edgar Barrier and Mercedes McCambridge, and to Hans Conried and Lou Merrill. As to next week, well, if you've ever wished on a star, listen in. For the play has the provocative title of the Heavenly Jeep. To you lovers of the off the beat, a cordial invitation to be with us when the Heavenly Jeep takes off.
Yes, tune in next Tuesday again for Arch Obler's eerie story, The Heavenly Jeep. And if you need more vitamin B1 and iron, be sure to try ironized yeast. But remember, there's only one ironized yeast. You'll know it instantly by the yellow and orange package and by the big letters IY on the container and on each tablet.
It is later than you think.
Down south, it's white shoe season, and even up north, you're beginning to see white shoes around town. And because of shoe rationing, lots of folks are giving their white shoes the best of care with Energine Shoe White. Energine Shoe White is made with the whitest pigment obtainable. It spreads over shoes easily and dries evenly with a real white, never a dingy off-white. So, to keep white shoes looking better longer, buy Energine Shoe White. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Hey, man, how about we check in with Fibber, Magee, and Molly next? That sounds good to me.
The Pet Milk Program with Fibber, Magee, and Molly. The first evaporated milk, Pet Milk, presents Fibber, Magee, and Molly with Bill Thompson, Gail Gordon, Arthur Q. Bryan, Dick LeGrand, Peter Leeds, and me, Harlow Wilcox. The show is written by Phil Leslie and Keith Fowler and directed by Max Hutto with music by the King's Band and Billy Mills Orchestra. Every mother wants the best for her baby. And when it's a question of the kind of milk to buy for your baby, this you can count on. There is no better milk than Pet evaporated milk. Safe? Yes, Pet milk, sterilized in a sealed can, is as safe as if there were no germ of disease in all the world. Easy to digest? Why, no milk you can buy is easier for a baby to digest than Pet milk. No milk is more uniformly rich. No milk provides a better balance of essential milk minerals and vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin. And it's that combination, remember, that enables your baby to build sound teeth and strong, straight bones, and to make sturdy, steady growth. And here's something else worth remembering. Pet evaporated milk, so good for babies, costs less generally than ordinary bottled milk or any other form of milk. Now, knowing all these facts, you can easily understand why Pet milk, the first evaporated milk, is the first food for millions of happy, sturdy babies. In these days of Walt Disney, we've become used to mice and pigs and cats who talk to each other. So it shouldn't be too surprising to hear an elk talking to his wife. In the home of Fibber, Magee, and Molly.
And us elks are in bad trouble, Molly. Our club is already mortgaged right up to the pigeons that roost on the roof.
And a big payment is due next week?
That's right. The second payment on the third installment of the fourth mortgage. We ain't got the money. So a committee is meeting today to figure out how to raise it.
Well, how does it happen that you're not on the committee, dearie?
Well, they called the meeting too early in the day for me, and besides, it looks like rain, and anyhow, I got other irons in the fire, and also I wasn't asked.
Well, that last reason stands up pretty well.
Well, I think Latrivia and Doc Gamble and the other guys on the committee were...
Come in. Oh, hello, Mr. Mayor.
Hello, Molly. Magee.
Hi, Latrivia. Is the committee already through meeting?
Yes, Magee, and we hit upon a splendid plan to raise the money.
Yeah?
An exhibition of championship pool.
Well.
You mean pool, like on a pool table with pool balls and a pool cue?
Yes. I thought I summed it up rather well in the one word, pool. Admission will be charged, of course.
Well, who'll give this exhibition, Mr. Mayor?
The champion of our club will meet the Elks Club champion from the city of Slow Rapids. A winner take all.
Oh, they've agreed to have their man here in time for the match tonight.
Tonight, huh? Well, I don't know who you picked to represent us Elks, but whoever it is, I guarantee I could take them like cough drops.
You, McGee?
You betcha. They don't realize down at that Elks Club, but I'm the best dad-ratted pool player that ever hung a hip over the corner pocket.
You know, that's odd. Ollie told me that he never runs short of kindling wood at the Elks because you break so many cues.
Well, the best of us have a little accident now and then. I've been a great player ever since I was a kid in school. I ever tell you the trivia about the time I played pool with Paul Powell at the Peoria Pool Hall?
No. No, and if it's all the same to
Well,
you,
this Paul Powell was a shark. One day at the pool hall, I stepped up to Paul and I said, "How about some pool, Paul?" And he said, "Don't be a fool, pal. I'm Paul Powell, and any silly soul who plays pool with Paul Powell is in for a fall, pal." I said, "Maybe I'm a fool who can't fill the bill, but I feel I won't fail, and if you won't play pool, you're pulling a stall, pal." So he gave me a scowl and racked up the balls, and me and Paul Powell begun to play pool.
Oh, you did?
The hall was still when he busted the balls with the strength of a bull, but the one ball didn't fall, and Paul Powell tried to yell foul.
He did.
I said, "That was no foul ball, so don't try to ball foul. Just give me the cue, pal, and I'll maul the cue ball, even though I'm smaller than you, Paul." Well, Powell got pale like he wanted to kill, but I kept cool and pulled the fill, and in it fell. Then I sunk the 2-ball, and the crowd in the hall all started to call, "The kid ain't tall, but he's better than you, Paul." And I sunk the 3-ball, and I said, "You see, Paul, I ain't a fool at all, pal." Then I sunk the 4-ball, and I said, "There's more, Paul, so don't ball, Powell, while I pile up the score with a smile, pal."
Smiling, yes.
When every ball fell, the crowd gave a yell. And Paul Powell let out a howl and threw in a towel, and they still tell at the hall how my style and skill had more appeal than the pool played by Paul Powell.
Is that all?
Yes.
It's amazing. I've never met Mr. Powell, but I feel that I've spent most of my life with him.
Well, no matter how great I am, and I admit it, you guys will probably ignore the real expert and pick some fumble-thumb-drum-dum that thinks a Q is a Chinese haircut. You already chose the guy to play for us?
Yes, we have.
Who is it?
You.
Me?
Yes, everyone agrees you're the logical man, McGee.
Oh, yeah, but you do...
We're counting on you, McGee.
Yeah.
The mortgage payment is at stake. I'll see you later.
My gosh. Me. In a championship pool match.
You sound upset, dearie. Wasn't that what you wanted?
Well, sure, but it's awful short notice. And, oh, hey, I just remembered. I can't play pool tonight. We got a date with Hector Howell and his wife to play canasta.
No, that's tomorrow night.
Oh.
I'll be so proud of you, dearie. You'll show them, won't you?
Oh, sure I will. Oh, hey, I just remembered. I can't make it. That's too bad.
What now?
I promised to stay home tonight and help you put up some apple butter.
That was last night.
Oh. Doggone it, there must be something I can...
Come in. Hello, Mr. Oldtimer.
Oh, hi, old-timer.
Hello there, daughter. Hi, Johnny. How you doing, kids?
Oh.
Well, McGee's just been given a great honor, Mr. Oldtimer. He's going to represent the Elks tonight in a big pool match.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Well, I'll leave the cheering section for you, Johnny. I used to be a cheerleader when I went to school.
A cheerleader, eh?
Only one the school had.
Yeah?
Back in them days, there wasn't no pom-pom girls and drum majorettes and short skirts. In fact, in them days, if a fella seen an ankle, he'd rush home, lock himself in his room, and write 3 pages in his diary.
Were you elected cheerleader by the school?
Yep. Ate up some dandy cheers, too. Like the football cheer, which went, "Razzmatazz and hey to hey. We'll stop at nothing on this day."
Oh, that was a fine one.
Made sense, too. The other teams got plenty of points, but we always stopped at nothing.
Well, I'm not surprised.
You must have been quite a cheerleader, Mr. Oldtimer.
Yep, daughter, but I wound up in disgrace.
Oh?
I asked the girls to support our team, and they thought I said something indelicate.
When you asked them to support the team?
Yep. Our colors was pink and blue.
Yeah?
When the team came out in the field, I yelled, "Here they are, girls. Now show them your pink and blue supporters."
Charles and the orchestra and Domino.
For the Magee.
Yeah.
I'll be watching my clever husband wallop the daylights out of the pool champion from Slow Rapids.
Yeah.
Well, don't sound so downcast, dearie. You will beat him, won't you?
Oh, sure. He ain't got a chance if I'm at my best, but that's the trouble. I'm starting not to feel so good. I got a pain.
What kind of a pain?
Well, it's sort of like an ache.
What sort of an ache?
Oh, it's kind of like a pain.
It's a pity you didn't study medicine, Magee. You'd have made a fine diagnostician.
So help me, kiddo. It come on to me all of a sudden. It's a feeling I just can't describe. Right where my appendix is.
You mean where it was? You had your appendix out 20 years ago, sweetheart.
Oh, yeah. Well, that makes it easier to describe. It's a sort of a lonesome feeling.
Sweetheart, I'm beginning to... Come in. Hello, Dr. Gamble.
Hello, Molly, and a brisk bow to you, Brother Elk. We're all counting on you tonight, my boy.
Well, look, I got a kind of a problem, Doc. It's true I'm a great pool player, but today I'm worried about my physical condition. Am I in bad shape, Doc? Be frank. Don't spare my feelings. Am I in bad shape?
Well, this will be a pleasure.
Yeah.
Your overall condition is deplorable, Magee.
Yeah?
You have bags under your eyes that would hold a 5-pound gift assortment of salted nuts.
Yeah, I'm in terrible shape.
You also have a severe case of low stomach.
Huh?
The one you don't bump it with those knobby knees.
Yeah, I better go right to bed.
However, there's no reason why you shouldn't win that pool game tonight.
Huh?
Pool is played largely with the arm.
Yeah?
From your shoulder to your wrist, you're a fine physical specimen. We're counting on you, my boy.
Now, you see, dearie, I knew you'd be fit to play.
Yeah, if you're willing to take the word of this wobble-potted witch doctor. What's his opinion worth?
$5, as you'll learn when you receive my bill.
Oh.
See you tonight.
Nerve of him charging me $5 for that. I'd deduct that from the last bill he sent me in April if I hadn't thrown it away.
Hadn't you better go to the Elks Club and get some practice for the big game?
Yeah.
I'll walk over there with you.
Okay, let's go. Fine bunch of brother Elks. Forcing the poor, tired old man to crawl out of a sick bed and pay off their mortgage with the sweat of his pool cue.
Well, we're almost there, lovers. Are you trying to get out of this match tonight?
My gosh, of course not. I can hardly wait.
Then a minute ago, why did you deliberately step on that banana peel?
I just didn't see it. I ought to write a hot letter to the street department that's supposed to clean these streets we're walking on up. And do they do it? No. They leave banana skins laying around so long they ain't even slippery anymore. What this town needs
Hello,
is...
Molly. Hi, pal.
Hello, Mr. Wilcox.
Hi, Junior.
Say, pal, heard about your pool match tonight. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Wish I could be there to watch you, pal, but I have to stay home and work on my scenario.
Scenario? You writing a movie, Mr. Wilcox?
Oh, didn't I tell you, Molly? Yes. It's a love story. Oh? It opens with this young couple at breakfast, you see, on their honeymoon.
Oh.
On the table before them are 2 cups of coffee and 2 pitchers of pet evaporated milk.
2 pitchers.
Everything is strictly 50-50 with these kids, Molly. They're in love, you see. Well, he looks at her, he smiles, he speaks. Dearest, he says, you're the pet milk in my coffee. Oh. You're as sweet as the good country milk, which, concentrated to double richness by evaporation, pet is. I love you, he says. I love you. Oh, brother. And then, listen to this. Lifting her eyes to his and gazing deep into his coffee cup, filled as it is with steaming Java with the rich, creamy color, the full-bodied flavor that makes coffee with pet milk such a satisfying drink, she answers.
And high time, too.
What'd she say? What'd she say?
Well, she said, bless you, my beloved. I love you, too. Not only because you're good and wholesome, like pet milk, which makes our coffee taste so delicious, but because you're double rich, too.
Oh, the kid is loaded.
Now, that's a real sweet thought.
Well, I thought so, Molly. And then, look, she smiles shyly. A faraway look comes into her eyes, and suddenly he understands.
Oh, he finally catches on.
Yeah. And together they plan for the one thing they need to make the happiness in their little home complete.
You mean?
Yes. Plenty of pet milk on the pantry shelf for all. Wow, what a story. What a picture that'll make. I better get it down on paper before somebody steals it. So long, kids.
Steals it. I wish somebody'd steal him.
Well, now, you go on in and practice your pool, dearie. I'll do some shopping and be back in time to watch you win the match.
Okay, kiddo. See you later.
Good luck, dearie.
Good luck, she says. That's rather, why did they have to pick me? Just because a guy talks like a pool champion don't mean he can play pool like a pool champion. I don't see why they had to...
Well, hello, Magee. You've come to practice for the big match, Champ?
Hi, Ollie. Yeah, I thought I'd better train a little. Get in shape.
Oh, you're in good shape for the shape you're in, Champ. You used to man for the young.
Yeah, well, that's what they all say. And they're right, of course. I'll mop up the floor with that guy like he had a handle on him.
Sure you will.
Or I would if I had my lucky cue. I just remembered my lucky cue's busted. I busted it yesterday. I can't play without my lucky cue.
Don't you worry. I fixed it for you. Red tire tape, Champ. Just like new.
Dad ratted, I wish people would leave my things alone around here. My gosh, a guy can't even bust a pool cue without some guy fixing it up.
Well, don't you want to play this match tonight, Champ?
Well, sure, but it kind of burns me up, Ole. When my brother Alex need me, it's please help us out, Magee. When they don't need me, it's Magee, why don't you stop dropping ashes on the floor? Magee, why don't you pay your dues? Magee, why don't you... Hey, my dues. I ain't paid my dues. Is Latrivia here?
Sure, right over there in the corner.
Hey, Latrivia. Hey, I got bad news. I can't play tonight.
Good heavens, why not?
On account of I got ethics, boy. It ain't right for a man to represent the Elks if he ain't a member in good standing. And I ain't. I owe $15 back dues, and I haven't got the money.
Oh, is that all? Well, don't give it another thought. I'll pay the money to the treasurer myself so you can play.
You will?
Well, of course. We need you, Magee.
Oh.
I'll take care of it immediately.
Oh, it's days like this which make an elk like me wish he was a moose.
The King's Men and Little Teeny and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
This is the story of a reindeer, a super extraordinary reindeer. You must know what a reindeer ought to be, for he had much peculiarity. Go on, Teeny, you tell us.
Okay, fellas, I'll tell 'em. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph climb in any reindeer cage. On one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa Claus
guiding light. Old St. Nick can't ride tonight.
So stand along, King Rudolph.
Galloping, galloping, galloping through the stormy night.
Lighting the way before him with his little nose so bright.
Santa Claus shouted,
Rudolph,
please guide us on our way. And the reindeer shouted,
Rudy,
come along, we'll let you play. So Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen and Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen away.
boy, Rudolph.
Hope that sleigh, hey, hey, hey. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer.
Brighter than a neon sign.
There used to be 8 reindeer.
Now there always will be 9.
Don't you worry if you should see stormy weather on Christmas Eve. Santa will find his way to you.
Cause Rudy's equipped with radar, too.
Oh, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, twinkle, twinkle on your way. Everybody loves that reindeer, 'cause Rudolph saved the day.
For little children.
Yes, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer came to stay.
And that's the end of the story, Alberta.
My, will you just look at the crowd here to watch you play tonight, Jerry? I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. Well, maybe something will happen, though. Maybe we'll have an earthquake.
Oh, Magee, don't talk like that. Why, you...
Well, soon be time to start the match, champ. How do you feel? A little shaky?
Not me, Doc. I ain't shaky. I'm too petrified to be shaky.
Just a little stage fright, Doctor.
Oh, sure, I know. Don't you worry, champ. All great athletes feel like they have butterflies in their stomachs before a big match.
Oh, yeah? Well, I got no butterflies in my stomach, Doc.
Oh?
No, sir. But, boy, there's a covey of quail in there that I wish they'd like.
Well, you just relax, champ. We're depending on you. I'll go see if the trivia is ready to start.
Gee whiz, Molly, how did I ever... Oh, look. Look, Molly. That's the guy I'm supposed to beat. He's practicing over there.
Oh, yeah.
Elmo Jones. Come on. Let's watch him a minute.
I saw him a while ago. I don't think he's any great shape.
Oh. Do you see that shot?
That's what I mean.
Huh?
My goodness, he can't even keep the balls on the table. Every time he hits one, they all roll into those little nets on the side there.
Look, Tootsie, I got news for you. You're supposed to knock him... Oh, skip it. Let me sit down a minute. My old trouble is coming back on me.
What old trouble?
Homophobia. Man, I wish I was home. I don't feel good, Molly. Maybe I'm getting a chill. I got a kind of a cold, clammy feeling in my right foot.
Take it out of the cuspidor.
Gee whiz. No wonder I...
Well, looks like a fine turnout for the match, champ. We're about ready to start it. How do you feel, champ?
Stop calling me champ.
I'm sure you'll make us all proud of you tonight, McGee.
Okay, Latrivia, okay. I catch on. I'm stuck. I'll tell you one thing, though, boy. I'll try. I'll give it all I got. If I got any.
Good. Are you ready, Mr. Jones? Any time, Mayor. Oh, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, our championship pocket billiard match is about to begin.
You get in there and give, dearie.
Yeah, I will. My legs are starting to give already.
Eddie, will you rack the balls, please?
Ollie, carry my pool cue, will you? I want to save my strength.
Now, in this corner, representing the Elks Club of Slow Rapids, we have that expert with the cue, Mr. Elmo Jones. And for the Wistful Vista Elks Club, that popular local favorite, Mr. Fibber Magee.
Now, this is it, kiddo. All right. Hand me the chalk there, Jones. I'll take the chalk, Jones.
Certainly, Mr. McGee. Here you are.
Ole, my cue.
Here you are, Shump. Champ.
You ever win any of these contests, Jones?
Oh, now and then. Mm-hmm. Won one last week.
Oh, is that so? Who'd you play?
Hoppy.
Yeah? I didn't know them cowboys played pool. I thought it was...
Oh, pardon me, Mr. Magee, but you're chalking the wrong end of the cue.
Oh. Yeah, I always do that. For luck. Well, don't let me make you nervous, Jones. Don't get nervous.
I won't.
You want to shoot first? Okay, I'll shoot first. I'll break. Now, let me see. This is a tough shot, but I'll play it from right here.
Sweet Genevieve.
You slipped.
Let's have another rack of balls, please. We'll never find all those. Your shot, Mr. Jones. Thank you, Mayor. I'll break in the 10 ball in the corner pocket.
Now, quiet now, folks. My opponent is trying to shoot. Let's all be good sportsmen and don't make him nervous. Don't make him miss now because...
One for Mr. Jones. 4 ball in the corner pocket. Also 6 and 12 ball in the side.
Oh, that's a very tough shot, folks. Nobody ever makes that one. But let's show some real sportsmanship now and give the man a chance. This shot is impossible, but if he wants to try it, let's keep quiet while he fouls it up, and then I'll show you. Three straight games to nothing, Molly. I never got a ball in. Oh, if that wasn't the awfulest exhibition
Well, now, you tried, dearie. You were just unlucky, that's all.
No, you're sweet, kiddo, but I wasn't unlucky. Let's face it, I always play pool like that. All the nickel-plated chumps. Here comes the trivia and the guys now. I'm a disgrace, Molly.
Oh, now you did the best you could. After all.
All right. I know what you guys are going to say, and you're right.
My boy, you were magnificent. You were a real champ, chump.
Huh?
You exceeded our fondest hopes, Magee. The Elks Club is proud of you.
It is.
I knew you wouldn't let us down, Magee.
Yeah, but what...
Through your playing, my boy, we were able to take the money we had in the treasury and make enough with it to pay the mortgage.
How could you make any money on me? I'm the worst pool player in the whole pup.
That's why we picked you.
What you mean?
We bet our money on Mr. Jones.
You delivered... Oh, this is ridiculous.
Fibber and Molly return in a moment. You know, there are times when nothing seems to give you the same lift, the same deep-down satisfaction as a good cup of coffee. And one thing that makes a good cup of coffee taste extra good is Pet evaporated milk. Just a little Pet milk gives coffee a tempting, creamy color because Pet is concentrated milk. Sweet country milk concentrated to double richness. And it's that double richness of Pet milk that makes your coffee taste extra good, too. You see, when you use Pet evaporated milk in place of cream, your coffee still has that full-bodied flavor, that characteristic coffee goodness that you enjoy so much. When you use Pet milk instead of coffee cream, you get a lot more for your money, too. In fact, you get more than twice as much for your money because Pet milk costs less than half of what you'd pay for regular coffee cream. So, for your own coffee drinking enjoyment, for extra goodness, extra savings, too, use Pet evaporated milk. Get several cans at your grocer's tomorrow.
Well, it was quite a night, sweetheart. You glad to get home?
No, I don't feel good, Molly. I got a big knot on my side. I felt something snap when I took that one shot.
Let me help you off with your coat.
Okay, easy now, kiddo. My side is all swole up. Big lump. What was that?
The 8 ball.
Oh.
Out of your side pocket. Swelling go down?
Yeah, it's all gone. Good night.
Good night, all.
evaporated milk, Pet Milk, brings you Fibber, Magee, and Molly each week at this time. Be with us again next Tuesday night, won't you? Suppose you had a younger sister whose husband received his travel orders from Uncle Sam the week before Christmas. What would you do to help? Well, that's the question young wife Sally Carter tries to answer when her sister Peggy faces a situation all too familiar to many servicemen's wives in the story of the week on Pet Milk's Mary Lee Taylor program next Saturday morning. You'll also hear the recipe of the week for eggnog pie, a delicious whipped Pet Milk dessert that needs no baking and very little cooking. Tune in sure next Saturday morning to Pet Milk's big double feature Mary Lee Taylor program on this same NBC station.
Next, it's Big Town, then Playhouse on Broadway on NBC.
Well, Silver, wait those thrilling days of yesteryear with the Lone Ranger up next.
Hi-yo, Silver, away!
A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo Silver, the Lone Ranger. In the early days of the western United States, hold-ups were an everyday occurrence. And it was not until the masked rider of the plains started his great fight for law and order that the trails became safe for honest men and women. Without the Lone Ranger's strength and courage, his daring and resourcefulness, the winning of the West might never have been accomplished. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again.
Come on, Silver! We're heading for Pine Flats. There's going to be trouble. Hi-yo, Silver, away!
United States Marshal Baldwin rode into Pine Flats and reined up in front of the sheriff's office.
Steady, boy, steady.
Hi there! Ain't you the marshal? It's ya, Jim Grant, you're waiting for.
Is that the name of your sheriff?
That's right, Mr. Marshal. And I sure hope you can make that critter in the jail tell what he knows.
You do, eh?
Yes, sirree. Come on, I'll take you to Jim Grant. Right this way, Mr. Baldwin. Jim? Here's the U.S. Marshal.
My name's Baldwin.
Glad to know you, Baldwin. Shut the door, Trigger.
Yes, sirree.
Sit down, Baldwin.
I guess you know as much about things as we do.
I understand you have a prisoner here.
That's right. An ornery polecat that was caught in the act of selling government rifles to the Redskins.
Mm-hmm. You knew, of course, there'd been a lot of that sort of thing, Grant.
Too doggone much of it. Redskins are plenty hard to handle when they got bows and arrows. Give 'em shooting irons, and they're outright worrisome.
Has this prisoner had anything to say?
Not yet. But I figure we can make him squeal aplenty when we get together and go to work on him. I don't know where he got the rifles.
A lot of them were stolen from a supply train. The government's been trying to locate the head of the gang that stole them. We've already captured 2 of the gang who were selling the rifles, but we haven't been able to get the big boss.
Wait a minute, Baldwin. Hey, Trigger, ain't you supposed to take some grub to the prisoner about now?
By Juniper, that's so. I had her sitting right there on the porch, and when Mr. Baldwin come, I forgot all about it. I'll get at it right away. Oh, I don't know what's the matter with me, Dad, right along.
Trigger's getting more absent-minded all the time. I'm darned if he ain't.
I hope nothing happens to the prisoner before he talks.
What do you mean, Baldwin?
Well, as I said, there were 2 other men captured. But before they could name the man higher up, they were murdered.
No.
Yeah, right in their cells. I don't know how it was done. It's been mighty mysterious all the way through.
There's the culprit's father.
Well, take it into him, then.
By the way, have you a light for my pipe, Trigger?
Yes, sir, you bet. I always carry some extra matches. I figure it's a good way to do a man a good turn. Set this grub down now. Here you are, Mr. Baldwin. I'll hold her for you.
You been around here long, Trigger?
Me? Well, off and on, as you might say. Got your light?
It's all right. Thanks, Trigger.
All right, thank you. I'll take this grub now and give it to the critter.
How well do you know that man, Grant?
Trigger? Shucks, I've known him for a long time.
Trust him?
Sure, I trust him.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I just wondered, that's all.
Look here, Mr. Baldwin. You got any reason to distrust Trigger?
Thought I'd seen him somewhere else, that's all. Might have been mistaken, though. Men like him are pretty common around this part of the country.
I shoved a plate into him, Grant, and he's eating it.
All right, Trigger. I reckon that'll be all for now.
Well, I'll stick around in case there's something else to do, Grant. You might want an errand run or something.
Why do you want to stick around?
Huh?
I said, is there any reason why you want to stick around?
It's his doggone curiosity, that's all. He's afraid he'll miss something.
Maybe you want to know what the prisoner will have to tell. Is that it?
Huh?
You wait outside, Trigger. If we want you, we'll send for you.
Well, all right, but doggone, you think I was suspected of something or other.
I'm afraid you're barking up the wrong tree if you suspicion Trigger of anything, Baldwin.
In a case of this kind, it doesn't do, Grant, to figure anyone is above suspicion. We know someone engineered the theft of army rifles.
Yeah, sure we do, but... Well, Trigger wasn't there at the time.
We know there are several men working in this part of the country peddling those rifles to Indians.
Hey, boss, Mr. Grant, Mr. Baldwin, look at what I got.
A redskin. Who's that?
Well, who is the Indian?
Great sakes alive, Jim Grant, don't tell me you don't tell me who this redskin is. He's the one that was buying the rifle from the prisoner.
That's right. Shut that door.
Where'd you find him?
Oh, shucks, he was sitting right outside on the steps of the porch.
What have you got to say for yourself?
Me not talk.
Is it true that you were approached by a paleface to buy a rifle?
That right. Me say me meet feller in town. Fetch him cash.
Is that true?
Sure it's true, Mr. Baldwin.
That's how it happened, I reckon, Baldwin. Me and a deputy had heard about this business of the Indians buying rifles. The next thing we knowed, here was this one making a deal with Hank Lazarus.
Lazarus? That's the name of the prisoner.
That's right.
Tonto not break law.
You can help us a lot, Redskin. Just sit down for a while.
There ain't much we can do to the Redskin, is there, Baldwin?
Of course not. He doesn't know the law. We can't blame him for buying a rifle if he has a chance.
Look here, Redskin. Why'd you figure to meet Lazarus here in town? Didn't you know it was sort of risky?
No. Tonto not know.
I'll give him a thorough questioning when I finish talking to you, Grant. I'll make...
What?
That's Lazarus.
Oh, what's the matter with him?
Come on and see. Look it. He's rolling on the floor there. Get the door open. Get that door open, Trigger.
Well, I'm doing it, Grant. Just a second now.
What's the matter with the man? He looks to me as if he were poisoned or something. Look at his eyes.
Sakes alive. Hi, Lazarus, wake up. Look at me. Don't stare that way.
Stand aside. Let me look at him.
Well, sakes alive. He was all right when I shoved his grub into him.
What about it, Baldwin? What ails him?
This is nothing new to me, Grant.
Nothing new? Well, I never seen the like of it before.
This man has been poisoned. The same as the other 2.
Other 2?
I told you we'd had prisoners before. It's the third time this has happened.
Is Lazarus done for?
The prisoner is dead.
That there grub done it. I'll bet a cookie on it. It's your fault, Trigger. You left that food standing on the porch, forgetting all about it.
But, Sheriff,
Any man in town would have had a chance to put some poison on the food.
Yes, but
Maybe you left it there on purpose. For that reason.
Me? Great sakes alive, no. I didn't do nothing like that, Mr. Baldwin. I
Sheriff
swear
Grant, I suggest that you put this man in jail and hold him for further questioning.
I'll do it, by Ginger. Trigger, if you've been pulling the wool over my eyes all these years, I'll see you hanged if it's the last thing I do.
Hey, if you want that redskin, look.
Stop, Hedge, and wait. Hold on.
Get him.
Stop or I fire.
No, he's getting away.
Keep the gun on Trigger, Baldwin. I'll go after the redskin. Stop that man. Stop that Injun. He's wanted by the law. Get him up, Scout.
Tonto raced out of town, cut across the plain toward the woods, and plunged among the trees. He found the Lone Ranger waiting for him in a clearing and told him what had happened in the sheriff's office.
Are you sure the man was dead, Tonto?
That's right. Tonto, make sure.
Poor fellow. He didn't have a chance.
Poison in food.
Murdered. Poisoned.
Ah.
Well, perhaps it saved him from hanging. But we're partly to blame for it, Kimasabi.
Now, what do?
Tonto, we've got to carry on just the same. The law is helpless in this thing. Look, Tonto, we have one of the frontier model weapons in the saddlebag, an old six-shooter.
That's right.
Now bring it here. I'm going to fix that gun, and then we'll start the next move.
What next move?
There's a man in town who still is peddling old army rifles, but he hasn't been suspected by Sheriff Grant.
You want Tonto to call on him?
His name is Baldy Elephant. He runs a cafe.
How you know him sell army rifle?
And that's where those Apaches we met last week got their weapons.
You know that?
Now, I'm certain of it.
Here. Here, gun.
And leave it with me, Tonto. I'm going to stay here in camp until after dark. You'll go on back to town.
What me do?
Call on Sheriff Grant and this man named Baldwin. Offer to help them in exchange for your own freedom. They'll arrest you as soon as you show up in town. And you'll have to do quite a bit of talking to them. Now, I'll tell you just what to say. Now, sit down, Kimasabi, and listen carefully to me.
It won't do any harm to keep that man you call Trigger in jail anyway, Sheriff Grant.
Dad rat it all. I still ain't convinced that he had any notion the grub of the prisoner was going to get poisoned. I'll walk the hotel with you, Baldwin, and see you fixed up for sleeping.
Lots of time for that.
Oh, won't do any harm to get set just the same. Hold on. There's that redskin. Heist your hands there, Injun.
You not shoot.
Heist him, I say. I want to palaver with you. Come on, Baldwin. Take the redskin's weapons.
Right.
You're under arrest, Injun. So step right back inside that office and be quick about it.
Me not crook.
Well, we'll see about that. You hightailed it before when you was here, but you sure was a fool to come back.
Well, I didn't expect to see you here again, Redskin. You don't stay scared, do you?
Sit down there, Baldwin. I'll question the coyote.
Me not bad, Injun.
What'd you say your name was?
Me, Tonto.
Tonto, huh? Well, we're going to arrest you and hold you until we figure what's best to do with you.
Me come back. Me help.
You what? You help?
That's right.
What do you mean, help?
Me no other Indian. Him get rifle, too.
Yeah? From the prisoner that's killed?
No.
Who from? Now, don't tell me Trigger's been selling rifles, or I'll fetch a crack alongside that head of yours.
No. Him not sell.
Who, then?
Me show. Maybe you be good friend, then.
Huh? What do you mean?
Do you mean to say you'll show us who's been selling army rifles, if we'll be friendly with you?
That's right.
What's being friendly mean?
You let Tonto go free. Not send posse after Tonto.
Who is this man you're talking about, Tonto?
Tonto show. Tonto buy rifle. You watch.
Why, Ginger, the Indian's got a brain in his head. He's got it all figured out for us. He'll buy a rifle from the critter, and we'll watch the sale being made and get the man with the goods right on him.
That's right.
What's his name?
You let Tonto go?
We'll see about that later. You can bet your boots we won't let you go if you don't help us.
You come cafe Tonight, you watch Tonto.
You'll be there, huh?
Uh-huh. Now, Tonto go?
All right. You mosey out in here now, and we'll be watching you at the cafe tonight.
That's good.
Poor Redskin. You know, Baldwin, I feel right sorry for him. He seems like a good sort of an Indian to me.
What do you feel sorry for an Indian for?
Why, you see, 3 men that was ready to talk and help get the big boss of this rifle stealing has already been killed. I wonder if that Injun's gonna be number 4.
More likely he'll lead us to the man that poisoned Lazarus.
Right at all, I wish I knew. But I got a hunch that Redskin's gonna die before he can be much help to us.
The curtain falls on the first act of tonight's Lone Ranger story. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. Now to continue our story. Tonto, working on instructions from the Lone Ranger, agreed to help the sheriff and the United States Marshal prove that Baldy Oliphant was selling rifles to Indians. That evening, Grant and Baldwin waited at the rear of the cafe near an open window end.
May as well do what the Redskin said, Baldwin, and wait right here.
Oh, I'm not used to taking orders from Indians, but then I guess it's...
know. But there's something about this one named Tonto. I don't know what it is, but he sort of makes me feel that he can be counted on to help us. He don't want to be jailed, and he's got it all figured out that the best way to stay out in jail is to help the law.
Maybe so.
Got your shooting iron?
Right-handed, yes, sirree.
Quiet. The door's swinging open.
Is that Oliphant?
That's him.
Oh. That Indian's with him.
Yeah. Quiet now.
Before we go any further, Injun, I got to have a look at your cash.
Tonto got cash.
Show me.
Here, cash. Here, plenty cash. A rifle.
Where'd you get that there cash money?
That not matter.
Didn't steal it from anyone around town, did you?
No.
Reckon it'll be all right then.
Now you show rifle.
I don't keep them rifles here. I got to get 'em from a friend of mine. I'll take this cash, and later on I'll have your shooting iron here for you.
Tonto go with you.
No, you don't. Can't take the chances. This your friend of mine wouldn't hand out the rifle if anyone was with me. He's got orders from the man that's his boss to be powerful careful. Now, you hang around here, and I'll be back by and by and have the rifle for you.
Tonto stay here?
Right in this room. Now, don't go away. I'll be back inside an hour.
Tonto's put it over all right, ain't he, Baldwin?
So far. I'll have to follow this bartender. You stay here, Grant, and keep an eye on the Redskin.
If you say so, Marshal Baldwin. But I'd sooner go along with you.
Can't take chances on the Redskin losing his nerve and hightailing it. You watch him. I'll be back when that man Oliphant is.
Baldy left the cafe with the marshal close behind him.
Seems to be heading for that cabin ahead. Maybe keeps the rifles hidden there. That's where he's going, all right. I'll give him time to
Just
get
a
in.
minute.
What's this? Who are you?
Just take your gun.
What's the meaning of this?
Who are you?
Is that a mask on your face?
Yes. Who are you?
My name's Baldwin, United States Marshal. And I warn you, stranger, you'll do well to return my gun and get away from here fast. Outlaws don't interfere with me and live to tell about it.
So your name is Baldwin, huh?
Yes.
Ah, that's odd.
What's odd about it?
You're what I thought you'd be. I suppose you're here to run down the stolen army rifles, huh?
What do you know about them?
Perhaps I'm here for the same reason.
You?
Why not?
Masked? I don't understand.
Go ahead, Baldwin. I'll put your gun back in your holster. But be careful.
Careful?
Don't let anything happen to Oliphant when you get the goods on him. He'll be able to tell you a lot.
We'll hope so.
Now get going.
1 minute. Just who are you?
Well, that needn't concern you.
But that mask...
You don't hurry, Baldwin. You won't be able to make the arrest you want. Oliphant has a light going in the cabin over there.
Where are you going?
I'll be around.
Come with me.
You want me to?
Yes, of course.
Very well. Come on, then. We'll see what Baldy Oliphant is doing over there.
Inside the one-room cabin, Baldy Oliphant lifted 3 or 4 short rifles from a box in the corner. He studied them and selected one.
Good enough for a redskin.
Then he put the rest back in the box and closed the lid.
There.
Throw up your hand.
What in?
You're covered, Oliphant.
See here, what's the idea of this anyhow? Ain't you the marshal that just got to town?
Right. And you're under arrest.
Now hold on. There's something mighty wrong here. What'd you figure on arresting me for?
You'll find out.
But I ain't done nothing.
Take your 6-gun, stranger.
Very well. Looks as if you're caught with the goods, Baldy.
What goods? I don't savvy.
Stand where you are.
Me?
You.
Put down that gun. Why do you want to cover me?
I'm taking no chances.
Very well. I'm standing still.
Oliphant, take the stranger's guns from leather and drop them to the floor.
If you say so.
That's it. Now drop them. Now drop yours. Kick them toward me. Your own with the other 2.
I reckon I'm savvy now. You had to arrest me, being as the masked man was watching, eh? Lazarus told me to count on you.
Lazarus? He's the prisoner.
Yep.
Did Lazarus tell you to sell those rifles?
How else would I get to sell them?
You'd better shoot, Baldwin, because I already know the answer to things around here.
Oh, you know the answer, huh?
You're no more Marshal Baldwin than I am.
What?
I found the real United States Marshal where you left him. He'd been murdered. His credentials were stolen.
Go on, stranger. Tell me some more. This is interesting.
Just after you came to town to have a talk with the prisoner died of poison.
Yeah?
You went to towns where there were other gun peddlers in jail. And in both of these cases, the men died before they could talk.
Hold on. Is that true?
That's true, Oliphant.
I didn't know Lazarus was dead.
You were given to understand that Baldwin protected the prisoners, weren't you?
Sure.
Well, what about it?
You through talking?
I'm curious about your real name. Use the name of the man you murdered. What's your real name?
That's none of your business. I'm right obliged to you for telling me how much you know about me, though. It gives me the chance to get you out of the way.
Hey, for the love of Pete, what have you done?
You stand still.
You shot him in cold blood.
Well?
You didn't even let him defend himself.
Why should I?
But sakes alive. Now you got his shooting to account for.
We'll account for that between us, Oliphant. Sit down. You and I have some talking to do.
Yeah?
I can take you back to Sheriff Grant. He'll jail you on my say-so.
Yeah, sure he will.
Or I can shoot you, just as I did that masked man.
Oh, you wouldn't do that.
That all depends on you. You know about me now, don't you?
Well,
You can back up what I say, and we'll both be in the clear. I didn't give you the rifles to sell here, but I understand that Lazarus did.
What's your ID?
You can tell Sheriff Grant that you took on the sale of rifles to help me. That this whole thing, on your part, was part of a scheme to find the man who stole the rifles in the first place.
Yeah?
Well, we found him, and I shot him. That's simple enough, isn't it?
Meaning that hombre?
Right. Now, come on back with me. We'll fetch Sheriff Grant and a deputy or 2. While we're doing it, I'll get you straight on the story we're to tell.
Oh, good enough, Mr.
You'll continue to call me Baldwin.
Yes, sir, Mr. Baldwin. Should we take that gent along?
Leave him there. We'll get Sheriff Grant here and let him be the one to unmask him.
When Baldwin returned to the cabin with the sheriff and his deputies, he told his story of the shooting.
So, there he is, Sheriff. Just as he fell when we shot him.
And you say he's the leader of this gun-selling outfit?
Of course.
Well, I'm downright glad to know the biggest crook of all is done for.
I had to shoot him in self-defense. Didn't die Baldy.
Eh? Oh, I reckon you did. It was either you or him, all right enough. That's right.
Well, what about Baldy?
There's no charge against him, Sheriff. He was helping me all along.
I didn't figure Baldy was the sort to be in any crooked dealing.
I never was sheriff, and I ain't now. That's why I was willing to listen to the proposition to trap the crook that stole them army rifles and hired men like Lazarus to peddle them around to redskins.
I see. Well, I reckon now's the time to sort of lay our cards face up, ain't it, Baldwin?
Sure.
First place, Baldy was never crooked. We both know that. The Lone Ranger knowed it, too.
Who?
The Lone Ranger. He's the friend of that redskin named Tonto.
Oh.
The Lone Ranger knowed Baldy was really on the level. That's why he asked Baldy to help him out. He figured that Baldy'd get the same as Lazarus and all the rest, so he couldn't tell too much.
Well, what are you getting at?
Well, the Lone Ranger didn't want no murder, so he stopped you in the woods and took your gun. Instead of giving it back, he gave you back another gun.
What?
That's right. One that was loaded with blank cartridges.
You mean to say
that shooting iron you got ain't no more harmful than an iron horseshoe.
But the masked man...
Why'd you look toward the masked man?
Huh? You ain't hurt.
Do I look like it?
I've been tricked, framed.
Put your hands above your shoulders and keep them there.
You framed me. You framed me.
Baldwin, you're a murdering, scheming, two-faced polecat.
See here, I'm not
Don't
gonna...
start shouting about your rights. You'll get hurt in the court of law. I reckon we'll find some of that poison on you, too. The same poison you put on the grub that Trigger had for Lazarus while Trigger was lighting your pipe.
You can't prove anything
We
like
got
that.
plenty of proof. Me and my boys didn't stay back to the cafe with Tonto. We was right outside this shack while you was fixing your lies with Baldy.
And as for the rifles Baldy was handling, they aren't army rifles at all. They belong to a few of the men around town. Baldy borrowed them to help me with my plans.
All right, you're not dead then.
No.
You've got nothing against me.
The shooting of the real Marshal Baldwin will be aplenty.
Prove it. I know enough law to know where I stand.
The murder of Lazarus.
You can't prove that either. Now, don't go off half-cocked. Maybe you can throw me in jail, but you'll have to prove a case against me.
We got witnesses that heard what you said to Baldy. That'll do, you ornery crook. We'll take our chance on proving the other things again you.
If you have any trouble proving your case, Sheriff, send for John Larkin.
Who?
The driver of the supply wagon that the rifles were stolen from.
You're bluffing. He's dead.
You thought so, Baldwin, or whatever your real name is, but Tonto and I found him still alive. He's recovered from his wound.
Hey, what?
Larkin will identify you. We followed your trail. It led to the marshal you murdered. It showed where you'd met Lazarus and Jennings and Conway and the others you had selling rifles for you.
We got all we need again you. Now get to moving.
It took some convincing, Baldwin, to prove to Sheriff Grant that you were an imposter. It won't take nearly that much to convince a jury.
Even if you live to have a trial. Maybe you'll be lynched before then. Now get going. And thanks, Baldy, for what you done.
Oh, don't thank me, Sheriff. Doggone, I'm proud to have helped the Lone Ranger.
Oh, Silver! Hooray!
story you have just heard is a copyrighted feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated.
Night Beat is coming up next on Nightly Old Time Radio Shows.
Night Beat.
Hi, this is Randy Stone. I cover the Night Beat for the Chicago Star. My stories start in many different ways. This one began in the shattering turmoil of a manhunt and ended in the quietness of the morgue.
Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone.
People are always telling me how lucky I am to have a job where all I've got to do is walk around Chicago at night looking for a story. It's a dandy little job, sure. All you need's a pneumonia jacket, an extra set of arch supports, and a goodly supply of penicillin, and you're all set. The city at night. Fascinating. That old nose for news, frozen stiff and ready to fall off. Those eagle eyes so watery and bloodshot from the wind they wouldn't serve a self-respecting canary. Yes, sir, it's lovely work if you can get it. And brothers and sisters, have I got it. Oh, I guess I was just bitter. I'd walked from the Loop to the near north side, waiting for a story to tap me gently on the shoulder, and so far it was no hits, no runs, and no errors. The streets were empty. Everybody was home hugging a radiator. And then, far away, I heard that lonely blues-in-the-night sound, a police siren. And then another, and another. And then it seemed like there was a whole chorus of sirens singing about what a cruel, cruel world it all was. And then one siren separated itself from the rest and came closer, a prowl car coming down the street, stopping just a few yards away from me, and a police officer jumping out of it and hurrying to a call box. The officer passed under the street lamp, and I saw the excited look on his face, and I thought, all right, Stone, you lucky dog, let's go to work.
This is Malachek. Yeah, okay, we're on our way over there right now. Right.
Officer, just a second.
What do you want, mister?
What's up? Sounds like every squad car in the city's on the loose.
Look, I got no time, mister. Read it in the papers tomorrow.
Oh, I never touch the stuff. Look, the name is Stone, Chicago Star.
Oh, reporter?
Well, mildly, that's a general call, isn't it?
I got no time to stand here, Gavin. I'll give it to you fast. Gig Sanders busted loose.
Sanders? Great. When and how?
Read it in your paper, Stone. All right, Crossan, let's move. They got him trapped.
Gig Sanders, two-time loser, a killer, loose in a city of 4 million people, and everyone his enemy. I hurried to a phone, checked with the police, and then drove over to that part of Chicago called the Badlands. That strange area belonging to every city, surrounded by business section, yet itself run down, deteriorated, filled with tenements and abandoned factories. It was there the police had thrown a cordon around a boarded-up building. My pass got me through and up to the front line, and Police Captain Arlen.
Hello, Stone.
Oh, the hunt's on, huh?
I don't know. We'll see in a minute.
Sanders in that building?
Got a tip he would be. Wait a second. All right, Billings. Turn the searchlight on the building. Keep two of them on the roof. Run the others back and forth.
Right.
Sticking around, Stone?
Yeah, I guess so. You sure Sanders is in there?
No, but we couldn't afford to pass up the tip.
The tip? Where'd it come from?
No, it's just a phone call. But Sanders knew this neighborhood like the back of his hand, likely to be here.
Captain Ireland, ready with the speaker now.
Okay, bring it here. Malachek.
There's quite a crowd gathered for the kill.
Yeah, making it tough for us. Sanders is armed like an artillery corps, and if he's in there...
I see what you mean. How'd he get away?
Haven't got the full details yet, but he was being taken to the death house. Killed a cop.
He's a nice boy.
Here you are, Captain.
Okay. All right. Here it goes.
Sanders? Sanders! Listen to me. There's no way out of that building that isn't covered. Come out with your hands in the air. We'll give you 20 seconds. Hear that, Sanders? 20 seconds. We'll count them off for you.
Now, what if he doesn't show?
Tear gas first, then we'll go in after him.
Mm-hmm. If he comes out with his hands up, he goes to the death house. If he doesn't...
He'll come out. Rats always believe there's a chance to beat the chair.
Well, his life is hope.
No sign of him. Malachek, come here.
Yes, sir.
Take the microphone. When I give the signal, start counting off 20 seconds.
Yes, sir. He given him more than 20 seconds.
Not him, the crowd. They won't push in so close when the counting starts.
Oh. Oh, look at them. Look at those faces. Perfectly normal human beings for 23 and a half hours of the day. Give them something like this for 30 minutes and they become a mob. Waiting, watching, hoping for the kill.
People, Randy, want to change them?
Yeah, sure. We'll retool and put out a nice new 8-cylinder model with a convertible soul.
Get ready, Malachek.
Yes, sir.
Captain, there's my story.
Sanders?
Oh, no. That's for the front page, boys. That mob, that's my story. Look at that young couple right over there. Look at those two. They're hoping Sanders will come out shooting.
Otherwise, they'll want their money back, huh?
I suppose so. I'll see you later.
Where are you going?
I want to stand by that couple and listen to them.
All right, Malachek, start counting. But warn him first. Once more.
Sanders. We're going to start counting right now. Come out with your hands in the air or we'll cut you in half when we come in after you. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I edged my way behind the young couple. They looked so nice and so human. But here they were, the same as all the rest.
9.
Go back just a little over 1,000 years, put on a toga, and take a seat in the Colosseum at Rome. Have a great day watching the gladiators butcher each other. Cheer for the lions, or, if you prefer people, cheer for the slave to kill the lion.
17.
Makes no difference. It's all the same holiday. Somebody gets killed.
20.
And then it started.
Let him have it!
It was all over in a few moments. The tear gas, the police rushing in with their masks on, the crowd straining forward to get a glimpse of Sanders. But there was no Sanders when the police came up.
Nobody in there, Captain Ireland.
He must have been.
No, sir, not a soul. We've covered every inch.
I watched the crowd, and strangely enough, there was relief on their faces, and even a little shame that they'd hoped for the kill. But the young couple in front of me.
He wasn't there, Ken. He wasn't there.
I know. Come on. Let's get out of here quick.
Ken, I'm sick.
Evie, hold on to me. Let us through, please. Let us through.
Yeah, here, this way. Come on. Will you clear the way, please?
She's sick, mister.
Maybe it's a natural reaction to disappointment.
Huh?
Nothing. Come on. We'll get through this way. Will you let us through, please? Excuse me, will you, please? Thank you.
She's got to sit down, mister. She's got it.
Okay. Here's my car. Let her get in here.
Kenny wasn't there. He's loose.
Never mind. Come on, baby. I'll get you home.
You better let me drive him.
No. We'll be all right.
Ken, I'm sick.
Just a little while, Evie. We'll be home.
Look, fella, it's easy to see what's the matter. She can't walk home in her condition.
It ain't far.
A block would be too far. I'll get a cab.
No. I don't want anybody around us.
Don't want anybody around you? That's a laugh. You bring her out here to this. Why didn't you take her on a nice tour through the packing house?
Shut up. What right you got to talk like that?
The founding fathers gave it to me.
You don't know nothing about it. You don't know.
Ken, take me home.
Look, my car is still here. You're in no spot to refuse help, no matter what your reason. Now, come on.
Let him take us, Kenny, please.
Come on. They lived very close. It didn't take over 3 minutes to get to their tenement building. I wanted to take her to a hospital, but she refused. She refused in a way that made me look at her hard. And there was another thing, the way she reacted when the police found out Gig Sanders wasn't in the oil factory. Terror. That's what it was, sheer terror. And I helped her husband carry her up the stairs and into their meager little flat.
On the couch, mister.
Yes.
Okay. There. Now, have you got a phone?
What for?
Call the doctor.
We ain't got a phone. But there's a drugstore.
No, Ken.
But, baby.
We gotta get out. We ain't got time for a doctor now. Just let me rest.
You're in no
gotta
condition to refuse a doctor.
I'm all right now.
Yeah, sure. It ain't going to be for 3 weeks. That's what the doctor said.
3 weeks, and you drag her out to that great exhibition? Why didn't she...
Shut up. Told you before you didn't know nothing about it. Mind your own business and leave us alone. What are you looking like that for?
What's the matter with you, with both of you?
Nothing.
Oh, yes, there is. You're scared stiff. Of what?
Please go, like Kenny says. Leave us alone.
Well, let me phone for a doctor from the drugstore. I won't come back. Just the doctor.
Evie?
No, we ain't got time, Kenny. Don't you know that? We ain't got time. He's loose, Ken. He's loose.
Easy, baby, don't.
You're talking about Gig Sanders, aren't you? Why? Why are you afraid of him? Do you know him? Come on, what about a talk?
No, not to nobody.
You're scared of Sanders. Why?
Look, mister, you helped us, all right? Thanks. Now get out of here.
We gotta tell somebody.
I said nobody. You know what'll happen.
We gotta tell. Mister, who are you?
My name is Stone, Chicago Star.
Newspaper.
That frighten you?
Maybe he can help. Maybe he can.
Nobody can. You know that.
I'll tell him.
Evie, shut up.
It was Kenny who tipped the cops.
Evie.
I had to tell somebody. Maybe he can help.
That's the truth, Kenny?
Yeah. It was me tipped the cops.
That Sanders was in the factory?
I thought he might be, but he wasn't.
All right. Now tell me something else. How do you know so much about it? Come on, if you want me to help, I gotta know you're on the level, so tell me.
Tell him.
How do I know that he won't go straight to the police? How do I know that?
We gotta trust somebody. We gotta.
Can we trust anybody?
Well, try it and see.
Him and me in the same gang once. I did time, but I got out before he did. I went straight because...
Go ahead.
It was for me.
Oh. All right, now, how about the tip to the police? There'll be a reward, you know. Sanders is big time.
I didn't do it for no reward.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Mr. Stone, help us.
How? How can I help?
By getting out now and keeping your trap shut about
And that'll
me.
help? No, you'll be back where you started. Your wife knows that, or she wouldn't have asked me to help.
Gig will come after us.
How would he know that you gave the information to the police?
He'll guess. We used that factory plenty of times for a hideout. Nobody else knew how to get in. There's a cellarway.
All right. Let me ask you another question, Kenny.
What?
Why did you tip the police?
Gig hates me.
Why?
Kenny married me while Gig was still in the pen.
Oh, you were his girl.
No, I never was. I never was his girl at all. I was like everything else Gig liked. Everything was his, no matter who it belonged to. To him, a girl was like anything else. His gun, his clothes. Anytime Gig Sanders wanted something, it was his. I never loved him. I told him, but he just laughed like what I felt didn't mean nothing.
I see. And now?
Now he's loose. He hates me because of Evie, and he's going to know I tipped the coppers. Mr. Stone, if it's the last thing he does, he's going to get us, Evie and me.
You are listening to Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone.
Those kids were scared, plenty scared. I asked them the only question that made sense, and I got my answer.
Go to the police? Sure. A guy who serves time goes to the cops. He tells them he gave him a bum steer. They got every copper in Chicago around that factory while Gig gets away someplace else. Yeah, sure. They'd believe me, wouldn't they?
Well, try it. I'll go with you.
Listen, you don't know. I changed my name. I moved all over the state looking for a job. This is the only place I could get one. I had to come back here.
So what does that prove?
It'll be in the papers. He'll lose his job, Mr. Stone.
I can't do that. Not with Evie.
Then what do you want me to do?
Look, maybe if I give you a list of the places the coppers might find Gig, maybe you could tip him.
So what if he doesn't show up?
There ain't many places he can go.
Look, maybe by this time he's out, maybe even out of the state. He's killed an officer. He won't dare to stay here.
Gig, as long as he knows Evie and me are still alive, he'll stay. He hates me so much, he'll take that chance.
Does he know you live here?
No. I ain't even seen any of the old bunch at all. I moved around.
Always moving to keep away. Mr. Stone, go to the police.
But don't tell him nothing about me.
Will you get it through your head that they'll protect you?
Even so, Gig's got friends. If they find out it was me...
All right, yeah.
So you gotta go to the police.
All right. Where's the drugstore?
Right at the corner. You'll see it.
All right, stay right here. Keep your door locked until I get back. It was a short 2 minutes to the corner drugstore. I put in my call and started back to the flat. The street was quiet, deserted. The dirty tenements a solid block of ugliness against the night. I reached the tenement entrance, and I was just about to start up the steps.
Hey, pal.
Huh?
Don't turn around. And nice and quiet. That's it.
What is this, a holdup?
Sure, a holdup. Now listen to me. Take out a cigarette.
What?
Take out a cigarette. That's it. Now light it. Act natural. boy. Now?
Where are you?
In your car at the curb, smart boy.
What?
Don't turn around, I said. Take a look up and down the street.
I am.
Coppers?
No.
Okay. Now come here to the car. You're gonna do like I tell you, understand?
What do you want? Who?
You know who I am, Stone.
Yeah, I guess I do.
Listen, I'm going up to that flat you come from.
Don't do it, Sanders.
Sure, I'm gonna do it. This gun says I can do it.
Leave the two kids alone.
Yeah, all alone.
You're wasting time, Sanders. Time you could use to better advantage.
Sure. Now step back a couple of feet. I'm getting out. Just stand there. Keep smoking a cigarette. Walk ahead of me. Straight in that house. Move. Stop here.
Sanders, you're not going to do this and still have time to get away.
Real concerned about me, ain't you? Don't worry, I'm a big boy.
All right, give him a break.
Sure, like they was going to give me. Now, listen. You're going back up to that flat. You're going to knock on the door, and you're going to tell them to let you in. That clear?
What if I don't?
So be a hero. I'll get in anyway. It's just easier this way. Okay?
All right.
So let's go.
The slow walk up the stairs was a nightmare. I walked down the hall toward the flat. The flat where those two kids waited behind a door that they thought would keep the terror and death away from them. And then?
Knock.
Who is it?
Answer.
Sanders, please don't do it.
You gonna answer him?
Who is it?
Answer.
It's Stone, Kenny, but I...
You was a long time.
Inside.
Shut up, or I will.
Evie, don't.
You Stone. Lock that door. All right, Kenny boy. Over on the couch.
Gig, don't hurt Evie. She's gonna have...
I see, yeah. Congratulations.
Listen to me.
Shut up. Stone.
What?
Get over to the couch. On your way, turn out the light. And stay in line with the window so I can see against the street lamp. Now sit down. We'll talk.
You gonna listen to me, Gig?
Sure, I'm a wonderful listener. Only make it good and funny, huh?
Even me fell in love, Gig. You ain't gonna blame us for that.
Evie and you fell in love. You think I worried about that? You think I cared what she did? Nah. It's what you done tonight.
He was afraid, Sanders. Afraid that you'd come after him because of Evie.
I thought about it, mister. Yeah, plenty. But I figured let it go. It ain't worth it. But this tonight is something different. Turning stooly.
You'll never get out of Chicago, Sanders. Every cop in the city will be looking for you.
It's nothing new to me. Now you, Kenny boy. You did tip the coppers, didn't you?
Gig, listen.
We're nothing.
You haven't got a chance, Sanders.
No chance? I always got a chance. My luck's good. You know why I wasn't in that factory, Kenny boy? Because my luck held. I had to get some dough first. And you know where I was? In that crowd, just standing there watching.
You were in the crowd?
Yeah, like watching my own funeral, only the coffin was empty. And I saw you and Evie, Kenny. That's how I knew where the tip come from.
All right, you're smart, Sanders. Now be smarter. You got us where you want us. We can't make a move, but if you kill us, you'll kill the time you need to get away.
I got ways. Like I come here. I followed you in a cab, then hid in your parked car. Now, ain't that smart? Evie, you ain't said nothing.
Gig, you gonna kill us?
Yeah, I'm gonna kill you, Evie.
Sanders, you said your luck held. It can't hold forever. What you're doing now is giving the police minute after minute to catch up with you, and they will sooner or later. You killed an officer, Sanders. You know what that means.
Him or me, it had to be that way.
Doesn't have to be this way.
This way?
What Kenny done was to save Evie's life and the baby's, right or wrong. That's why he did it. What would you have done to save your own life?
I killed a cop to save my life. That answer you?
Yes, I guess it does.
So it makes sense. That's a radio there by you, ain't it?
Yeah.
Send it on. We're all going to sit here and wait for the news. We're going to see how I'm making out.
We sat in the semi-darkness of the room. The only light came from the window that faced the street. Then the 11 o'clock news broadcast came on.
The meeting tomorrow will tell us more.
Tonight in Chicago, the city's manhunt goes on for Gig Sanders, convicted and sentenced killer. Acting on an anonymous tip, the police surrounded the old Phillips factory, but Sanders had not been there or had escaped before the cordon could be drawn tightly. Meanwhile, rewards totaling $2,800 have been offered.
Shut it up. 2,800. A real nice nest egg, huh, Kenny boy?
It wasn't any reward.
There is now.
Sanders,
What do you want, Stone?
you said you were smart.
So, what are you getting at?
Maybe you forgot one thing.
Yeah?
You came here in a cab.
So?
Did the driver get a look at your face?
Don't give me that. The cops would be here long before now.
Oh, no, Sanders. Only about a half hour has gone by since they tried for you in the factory. Figure it out. By the time the cab driver reports, by the time the police check...
Shut up.
You're wasting time. You got half a chance if you take it.
Yep. Yeah. I guess you talked me into it. Okay, I'll get going.
Gig. No. Please. No.
Gig, not Evie, not the baby.
The baby? Evie? I could have been rotting in that factory by now.
What satisfaction will you get from this, Sanders?
Satisfaction? Everything in the world.
You were friends.
Yeah, friends. Did you tell him how good friends we were, Kenny? Did you tell him how we played in the same dirty, stinking streets? How we ate the same slop in the orphan asylum? Did you tell him all that?
Gig.
Yeah, Evie, did you tell him how I was always the one to get Kenny out of jails when we were kids? They tell you that, Stone?
No, but you're thinking of it. Remember it.
I am. Oh, I am.
All Kenny wanted was a decent life.
Even if it cost mine, huh?
He wanted to live for his wife and their baby.
And I want to live.
For what?
You shouldn't have said that, Stone. I didn't have nothing against you till you said that. I was going to that death house when I busted loose. I figured a million ways to get away, and I took the chance when it come. I killed a cop. And I know what happens to a cop killer. I know. Yeah, they're coming. I guess you were right about that cabbie. The minute the cop will all be set up and ready to get me. Yeah, but I killed a cop. That's how bad I wanted to live. But nobody wants me to. Nobody. You hear? Nobody.
Listen, Sanders.
You listen. A couple of weeks ago, there was a leopard loose. You know what the people said? You know, Stone?
Yes, I know. They felt sorry for the leopard.
That's right. Everybody wanted that leopard taken alive. Nobody wanted it killed but me. I'm a human being, and they want to see me cut to pieces.
Maybe because that's all the difference in the world between you and that animal.
Is there? You're going to tell me the leopard would know better if he killed to get away? Well, I don't. No, because that's the way I learned to live.
Because you didn't want any other way, Sanders. Because it was the easiest way. You grew up in a gutter. You never wanted to get out of it. Other men did.
I ain't other men. I'm Gig Sanders.
Gig, they're all around. You ain't got a chance.
Yeah, and that's dandy for you. Just what you want.
No, Gig, no. I swear it ain't.
You swear. Now, you listen. I'm going out. Yeah, but not with my hands up. And I ain't gonna die alone.
Sanders, don't. Do one last decent thing. Let these kids alone.
Gig, listen. I'll go with you.
Kenny, no.
Gig, I'll go with you. It'll be you and me again like it always was. I'll help you get away. We can do it together, Gig. We always used to, me and you, remember?
You're crazy, Kenny. If they think you're going out with him, you won't have a chance. They'll cut you down with him. You won't.
Kenny, stay here.
I gotta do it, Evie. You gotta see that. I have to do it. Gig, you want to kill me, all right. I'll be dead if that's what you want, but I'm going out with you. I got a gun.
Kenny, put it down. Don't.
So you got a gun. You got a gun. All right, shoot me. Why don't you shoot me?
I could have. Any time we were sitting here.
But you didn't. You was always soft, Kenny boy. You see, Stone, that's the difference between him and me.
Then shoot me. Go ahead, kill me now. But even if you don't, I'm going out with you, Gig.
Kenny, you're not talking sense.
Sanders, we know you're in there. Sanders, this is Captain Ireland. Listen to me. Sanders.
I'm listening, copper.
Sanders, there are innocent people in that building. We'll give them time to clear. If you've got any human decency left in you, wait before you do anything. But I warn you, Sanders, come out with your hands in the air.
What are you going to do?
You know what I'm going to do? Coppers! Coppers, I'm coming out! Right out the front door. Tell everybody else to stay in. Tell them.
All right, Sanders, but with your hands up. Now listen, people. Stay in your rooms, lie down on the floor, and stay away from windows and doors.
I'm coming, coppers.
They'll kill you, Gig. Sanders, go out with your hands in the air.
Oh, sure. Now, Evie, Kenny.
Gig.
Sanders.
Do it then, Gig. Do it and get it over with.
Kenny, boy, get where I can see your face.
Think what you're doing, Sanders.
Shut up, son. And the light by the window, Kenny. Now, let me look at you. You said you'd go out with me.
Yeah.
Kenny, don't lie to me now. Don't lie now.
I'll go with you, Gig.
Swear it's the truth, Kenny. Swear it's the truth.
I don't have to swear it, Gig. You're looking at me.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going out alone.
Now, what about Kenny, Evie?
They can rot in this stinking world. They can rot. Not me. I'm going out. I'm going out and meet all the coppers in Chicago.
Gig, stay where you are.
He's gone. He's gone.
Sanders, come out with your hands up. Hello, coppers!
Well, there's $2,800 lying down there, Kenny. You better go down and pick it up.
I don't want it.
You had all the chance in the world. Why didn't you kill him?
I couldn't. Gig Sanders was my brother.
Now it's almost dawn again, and I've written another story. It's a story that began a long time ago when a man looked up and answered a question with another question. Am I my brother's keeper? There's an answer to that, and our society has made it. Yes, you are your brother's keeper, but the kept must be worthy of the keeping. Copy, boy.
Night Beat, a new dramatic series, stars Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone. Tonight's story was written by Russell Hughes. Night Beat is edited by Larry Marcus and directed by Warren Lewis. Music by Frank Worth. Others in tonight's cast were Ted DeCorsia, Georgia Ellis, Shepard Menken, Louis Haight, Herb Ellis, and Alan Slate. Frank Lovejoy will next be seen in Milton Sperling's production Rock Bottom, released by Warner Brothers. Throughout the week, NBC brings you the very best adventure mystery dramas on the air. You'll hear action-packed, fast-moving plots to hold your interest right up to the smashing climax on NBC's thrilling mystery shows. During these stellar programs, you'll hear mystery and intrigue, adventure and high-tension drama. Match your powers of observation against the best in detective fiction in solving crimes and unraveling intrigue. There's fast-moving action to lift you from beside your radio into the romantic land of mystery and adventure. These exciting dramas are as interesting as tomorrow's race results today. And you'll hear them every night over most of these NBC stations. Remember, if it's mystery and adventure dramas you're tuned for the best on NBC. Listen next week at this same time and every week as Randy Stone searches through the city for the strange stories waiting for him in the darkness. The stories that come out of the shadows to find their way into Night Beat. Tomorrow, Fred Allen joins Bob Hope. Now, Jack Benny's on NBC.
Up next on Nightly Old Time Radio shows, enjoy the adventures of Nick Carter, Master Detective.
What's the matter? What is it?
Another case for Nick Carter, Master Detective. Yes, it's another case for that most famous of all manhunters, the detective whose ability at solving crime is unequaled in the history of detective fiction, Nick Carter, Master Detective. Tonight's curious adventure...
The Substitute Bride, or Nick Carter and the Mystery of the Night Ferry.
Here, take your hands off me. Now, what are you doing? Let me go. Put me down. No, stop it. Ah!
Nick, there's a young man here to see you. Says he's an old friend of yours.
Well, hello, Nick.
Ellen Marvin. Well, Ellen, it's good to see you again. And what brings you to this part of the country?
I came east to get married, Nick.
Well, congratulations.
Now, wait a minute. I'm afraid your congratulations are a little premature.
What's the matter?
I don't know. I can't find her.
Can't find her? Well, what on earth do you mean by that?
Well, look, it's like this, Nick. Alice Evans and I have been engaged for about 4 years. But for the past 3 years, she's been living in South America with friends of her family. She was due back in this country yesterday on the Gallia, so I came on from Chicago to meet her. But her boat got in ahead of schedule, and my train was late, so we missed connections. I'd already told her I was coming, but in spite of that, she was gone by the time I got to the dock last night.
Didn't she leave any message for you?
No, not a word.
That's odd.
And she has no friends in this part of the country that she could stay with.
Well, didn't anyone at the boat know where she went?
Well, apparently not, Nick. The stewardess says a boy brought her a note, and as soon as she read it, she got dressed and went ashore. There was a taxi waiting for her, and she went off in it. An hour later, an expressman called for her trunks.
Perhaps she went to a hotel.
Hotel? But, why should she do that when I told her that I'd meet her at the boat? No, Nick. Something has happened to her, I'm sure of it.
Nick, the morning paper says that there's a Miss Alice Evans registered at the Hamilton Park Hotel.
What's that?
Would that be the same girl?
Here, let me see that, will you? Quick.
Right here.
Well, and she did go to a hotel. Oh, gee, what a fool I was for worrying you, Nick.
I'll think nothing of it, Alan. Glad you found her.
Well, if you don't mind, Nick, I think I'll...
Sure, go right ahead. I know how anxious you are to see her.
Hey, look, Nick, why don't you come with me? I'd like very much to have you meet her.
Well, Alan, this seems hardly the time to...
Oh, come on. No, Nick, come on. I want you to meet her. You'll like her.
Well, all right, if you insist. But I've heard it said that 3 is usually a crowd, especially after 2 of them been separated for 3 years. Taxi! Taxi! 2nd and 5th driver. Well, Ellen, I gather that you feel that our visit to the young lady was not a complete success.
Nick, something's wrong. I don't know what.
So I noticed. That's why I stayed until you left.
I tell you, she's changed. I can't put my finger on it, but she's different somehow.
Well, 3 years is a long time, Alan. Some change would be quite natural.
Oh, but it isn't that kind of change, Nick.
Doesn't she look the same?
Yes, she does, and she doesn't.
You mean you don't think she is Alice Evans?
She must be, and yet...
Then you're not sure.
I wish her father were here. He'd know immediately whether she's his daughter or not.
Where is he? Chicago?
I don't know. He told me he was meeting the boat, but as far as I know, he hasn't shown up. She said she hadn't seen him.
Well, he probably was delayed in getting away.
Look, you don't suppose anything could have happened to him, do you? You know, like so many rich men, he always carried several $100s with him.
Well, it's possible, of course, Ellen. Was there anything distinctive about his appearance?
Well, he was a shortish man, stout, white hair. Oh, yeah, he wore old-fashioned side whiskers.
Well, those should make him easy to identify. I'll have Lieutenant Riley get in touch with the Chicago police and see if they know anything about him.
Oh, good.
Then I'll have Patsy make the round of the hospitals here in town. I'll send Penny to the terminal and the ferries to see if we can pick up any information about him there.
Mm-hmm. Well, we ought to find out something that way.
And I think my next step will be to visit the Gallia at her dock. See what I can learn there. The main reason I'm taking you to see Miss Evans, Purser, is that I want you to tell me whether or not she's the girl who made the trip up in South America with you.
I understand, sir.
Now, you, the purser of the Gallia, probably had as good a chance to see her as anyone.
Oh, why, yes, sir, but none of us saw her very much. She took ill right after we sailed and stayed in her room almost the entire trip.
But you say you'd be able to identify her positively.
Oh, yes, sir. I have an excellent memory for faces, and she was a real looker, she was.
Here's her hotel. Come on.
Righto, sir.
Here, we can take this elevator. 3, please. This is her floor. Her room's right across the corridor here.
Oh, come in, Mr. Carter.
Thank you, Miss Evans. You, of course, know this gentleman, Miss Evans?
Why, well, let me see.
Oh, it's hardly fair to expect her to remember me, Mr. Carter. She was so ill every time I saw her that I doubt if she'd ever really got a good look at me the old voyage.
Oh, why, of course. Now I know who you are. You're one of the officers off the Gallia. We came up from South America together.
That's right, Mum. See, sir, she knows me right enough.
Oh, I knew I'd seen you somewhere. If I hadn't been so sick, I'd have remembered you at once.
I see. Well, Miss Evans, our call is really in the nature of business. The purser found a valuable lot of jewelry left behind in the ship, and I was called in to help find the owner. As it was near your cabin, we come to you first.
I haven't missed any of my jewels, but I'll let you know if I do.
Thank you. Have you had any word from your father yet?
No, not a word. Do you suppose anything's happened to him?
What did he look like, Miss Evans?
Why, he was... I'll show you his picture. You can tell better by that. Here you are, Mr. Carter. That's my father. Are you a detective?
Yes, Miss Evans. I am.
Then you must find him for me. I don't care what it costs.
Very well. I'll see what I can do. Shall we go, purser?
Oh, yes, sir. Good day, miss, and good luck to you.
Goodbye, and thank you.
I'll let you know as soon as I learn anything, Miss Evans. Good day. Well, purser, was that the Miss Evans who made the trip with you in the Gallia?
Oh, positively, sir. I'd know her anywhere.
You're sure?
There's no question whatever, sir. I'd swear to it on a stack of Bibles afoot, I would.
I couldn't find a thing, Nick. There's nobody in the hospitals who answers to the description of Mr. Evans.
I hardly expected you'd find anything, Patsy. But we had to be sure.
Well, did the Chicago police know anything about him?
Riley said they had no report of anything having happened to him there. What did Penny find?
Well, Penny hasn't come in yet.
Oh, hey, Nick. I couldn't find any traces of the old boy at the terminal, but I did find something at the ferry.
What'd you find?
Oh, that'll keep, Nick. Right now, I got a taxi waiting outside, and the driver of the taxi's the fellow who took Alice Evans from the boat to the hotel last night. And he knows something.
How'd you find him?
Oh, the stewardess on the Gallia pointed him out to me. I'm afraid if I try to bring him in here, I'll scare him. I already asked him a lot of questions.
I'll go outside and talk to him myself. Oh, driver, I'm Nick Carter.
So what? I ain't interested.
But I am. I'm interested in what you can tell me about a young lady you picked up at the Gallia last night. You took her to the Hamilton Park Hotel, didn't you?
All right. So what if I did?
Look, you'll save yourself time and trouble if you'll answer my questions. You picked her up about 8 o'clock, didn't you?
Yeah, about that.
How long a drive is it to the hotel?
About a half hour. Maybe if the lights was against you, 45 minutes.
And how does it happen that you didn't register in at the hotel till nearly 10 o'clock?
Well,
Where'd you go between the time you left the Gallia and the time you reached the hotel?
I stopped over the house on 22nd Street for a while.
Did Miss Evans leave the cab?
Yeah. She said she wanted to see Winslow's daughter. Said they went to school together.
You mean it was David Winslow's house you stopped at?
Yeah, I said so, didn't I?
Yes, you did. Thanks. Here. This'll pay you for what's on the meter and for the information.
Okay. So long.
Find out anything, Nick?
That depends, Patsy. Now, Penny, what was the dope you got at the ferry?
Well, it's like this, Nick. I found one of the ferry guards who remembered seeing an old guy with big white side whiskers get on the ferry about the time Evans' train must have got in from Chicago, see? Well, this guard got such a kick out of the whiskers that he watched for the old guy to get off the boat at the other side so he could get another gander at him.
And did he?
Nah, the old guy didn't get off.
What?
What?
Was you sure?
Sure. And the old guy wasn't on the boat anywhere.
Well, that would sound as if something might have happened to him during that ferry ride. Oh, Ellen.
Nick, I've got some news. Mr. Evans was alive this morning.
Is that so? How do you know?
I'll tell you. I went to see Mr. Evans' banker this afternoon to see if he had any word from him. He showed me a check that Mr. Evans had made out this morning. A check for $50,000.
Dated this morning?
Mm-hmm. Yes. It was made out to John Smith and endorsed by David Winslow.
David Winslow? You're sure of that, Ellen?
Yes, I'm sure. Why, Nick?
Here's why. Last night, a girl who claims to be Alice Evans, but apparently isn't, stops off at Winslow's house on the way to the hotel.
Yeah?
Mr. Evans disappears last night. And yet a check made out by him this morning turns up endorsed by Winslow himself.
Hey, wait a minute. That does look suspicious.
Certainly does. Patsy, tomorrow morning, you and I are going to call on Mr. Winslow. It's very good of you to see me, Mr. Winslow. I'm Nick Carter, the detective.
Yes, I've heard of you, Mr.
And
Carter.
This is Miss Bowen, my assistant.
How do you do,
Good
Miss
morning,
Bowen?
Mr. Winslow.
What can I do for you, Mr. Carter?
Mr. Winslow, you know James Evans?
Only very slightly.
Are you acquainted with his daughter, Alice?
No, Mr. Carter, I'm not.
I see. Did a check of Mr. Evans recently pass through your hands?
Why, yes, it did. I cashed one of his checks yesterday.
Did you know that Mr. Evans disappeared the day before the date on that
I
check?
didn't.
Well, he did.
You don't say.
Would you be in a position to know if the signature on the check were a forgery?
Oh, the signature was genuine, all right. When Mr. Smith presented for payment a check in the amount of $50,000, I naturally sent the check to Mr. Evans' bank for verification. They said it was good, so I paid Smith the money.
I see. You said a few moments ago that you didn't know Alice Evans.
Yes, I did.
But didn't she call here night before last?
Why, yes, she did. She called to see my daughter. They were classmates at school. My daughter was not at home, so she talked to my wife for a while and left.
I thank you for your trouble, Mr. Winslow.
Not at all.
Come on, Patsy. Time we're running along.
Okay, Nick. Good morning, Mr. Winslow.
Good morning.
Good day, Mr. Winslow.
Good day to you, sir.
Patsy, I'd be tempted to believe what he said, even if I didn't know that he has an excellent reputation in banking circles here in town.
Well, what he told us certainly sounded straightforward enough to allay...
Hold it, Patsy.
Huh?
See that man going in the house next door?
Oh, yes. What about him, Nick?
I saw that man at court a few weeks ago, charged with murderous assault.
What?
And now we found him going into the house next door to Winslow's. Patsy, I want you to get back to the office immediately. Tell Penny to see what he can find out about that house. The address is 832 West 22nd Street.
Yes, Nick.
I want to know more about that place.
Talk plainer, Nick. What did you say that address was?
832 West 22nd Street, Riley.
Well, now, Nick, that's a curious thing. One of the boys picked up a bum this morning, and when we searched him, we found a slip of paper in his pocket with that same address on it.
Swell, Riley. Hold him. I'll be right down.
I don't know, I tell you. How many times I got to keep on saying that?
You don't know who pushed the man off the ferry, who kidnapped his daughter, where she is now, or anything about it?
No, I tell you, no.
Who's the girl who's staying at the Hamilton Park Hotel under the name of Evans?
Where's the Hamilton Park Hotel?
All right, Baker, all right. Guess I must have you all wrong.
I'll say you have.
You live at 832 West 22nd Street?
Well, I don't exactly... No.
Who does live there?
Oh, how should I know?
Where does David Winslow live?
Right next... Who's David Winslow?
Riley,
Yeah, Nick?
I'm through with Baker. Not the fellow I thought he was.
All right, Baker. The guard's waiting for you just outside the door. He'll take you back to your cell.
Okay. I hope you're getting what you're looking for, Carter.
Well, Nick, what did you find?
Riley, Baker thought he told me nothing. But his answers weren't as clever as he thought they were.
Yeah?
Actually, he told me that Evans was thrown off the ferry into the river and that he was picked up in a rowboat which was waiting for him.
Well...
And I also discovered that he knows David Winslow and that he knows what goes on at 832 West 22nd Street.
Hey.
All of which, while not conclusive evidence, tells me I'm on the right track.
Nice going, Nick. Well, what's next?
Riley, I want you to release this man Baker at once.
What, release him, Nick. But why?
I want to be sure the rest of the gang knows I'm on their trail. The first thing Baker will do when he gets out of here will be to tell them. They'll undoubtedly make some move to try and stop me. And that may bring him out in the open. Penny, what'd you find out?
Well, I'll tell you, Nick. Whoever's running that gang's keeping it pretty secret. None of my old pals know anything about it. All I could find out is that the address is the hideout of what they call the Secret Six.
Yeah?
An ex-convict, they call the butler, takes care of the place during the day and keeps it cleaned up.
That would be the man Patsy and I saw. What about David Winslow?
Nobody connects his name with it nowhere.
He must be extremely clever, or I'm extremely much of a dope.
You're no dope, Nick. No. Hey, where's Patsy? She asked me to bring her back some peanuts.
Oh, she went to see that girl who's posing as Alice Evans at her hotel. Hey, wait. I didn't realize it was so late. She should have been back by now. Found this note at her desk when I came in about lunchtime.
Yeah. And dear Nick, girl who calls herself Alice Evans just called to say she had information on her father's disappearance. When I told her you weren't here, she asked me to go over and she'd give it to me and I could get it to you. We'll take a run over to the hotel and see what she wants. See you at the office when I get back, Patsy.
And that was almost 5 hours ago.
Say, look, should we go over there and have a look-see?
Well, first I'll phone Miss Evans. Hamilton Park Hotel. That's, Shermore, 32423.
Gee, if that bunch of crooks has tried anything on Patsy...
Hamilton Park Hotel. Good afternoon.
Miss Alice Evans, please.
Miss Evans, I'll connect you.
Thank you.
You know, I ain't known Patsy long, but she's a pretty swell kind of dame for...
I'm sorry, Miss Evans does not answer.
Thanks.
Nobody home?
No, Penny. And I don't like it. I think we better get going and... Wait a minute. Nicholas Carter's office.
Nick Carter,
Yeah? Who's this?
if you want to see your girlfriend Patsy again, Carter, keep out of the Evans case.
What do you mean?
If you make another move to try and find out what happened to old man Evans or his daughter, you can kiss your girlfriend goodbye. It'll be curtains for her.
But look, Nick, just because the Secret Six meets here doesn't mean that they'll be keeping Patsy a prisoner here.
I know that, Penny. But we saw a couple of members of the gang go in here a few minutes ago, didn't we?
Yeah, sure we did.
Well, if I can't make them tell me what they've done with Patsy, my name isn't Nick Carter.
Oh, whatever you say, Nick.
You say that man they call the butler is upstairs on the first floor now?
Yeah, he's writing in the back parlor.
Then let's get into the basement. Quick.
Oh, but the door's locked, Nick. It's got a special Townsend lock on it.
Well, that won't be the first door with a Townsend lock on it. My little pick lock is opened. There. Quiet now. Wonder where this door goes.
Oh, that leads into the basement of the house next door, Nick.
Then I'm right. That's the basement of the house where that banker Winslow lives. He is in on this.
Hey, Nick, sounds like somebody's coming down here.
You're right, Penny. Here, quick. There's a storage closet. Get in here. I'll leave the door open a crack so we can watch him. It's that butler, Penny.
You're not going to gag me again, are you?
That must be old man Evans.
What's that stuff you have there? Now, if you call that food, you can take it away.
Penny, if one of us stands on each side of that door, we can grab the butler when he comes out. But don't let him call out. Those other guys might hear him.
Now, whatever you say, Nick. Like this?
Go on.
That's
Get
the
out
idea.
of here. Go on, get out.
Here he comes. Now. Hey! Good. All right, let's drag him into Evans' room. Here, quick. Now, shut the door.
Okay.
What's this? What are you doing?
You're Mr. Evans, aren't you?
Oh, yes, I
Well, I'm
am.
the detective, Nick Carter.
Well, oh, thank heavens.
You know where the other two men are that we saw come in here a little while ago?
They're probably in the room where the gang meets at the end of this hallway, sir. Butler!
That's Winslow. Quick, Mr. Evans.
Yes?
What does this butler's voice sound like?
Well, very much like yours, except that he had a kind of dialect, no particular country, just foreign.
Butler, confound it.
How does the
where
butler
are you?
address Winslow?
Just Senor Winslow, I
I
think,
see.
sir.
Yes, Senor Winslow. You call me?
I've called you several times. Where have you been?
I've been trying to find something in the back of the storage closet. You wish something, Senor?
Yes. When the boys come in for the meeting tonight, tell them not to leave until I get here, no matter what time it is. You understand?
But of course, they must not leave until you come. I will tell them.
All right, and don't forget.
Wait, that was amazing, Mr. Carter. It was almost a perfect imitation.
All right, Penny. You better get this butler chap tied up and gagged before he comes to.
Well, whatever you say, Nick.
Mr. Evans.
Yes?
You know why you were kidnapped and brought here?
Why, yes, Mr. Carter. They want my fortune. I know they've kidnapped my daughter and substituted in her place a girl who looks enough like her to be her double. They plan to have her get possession of everything she can, sir.
Then they forced you to write that check for $50,000, didn't they?
Yes, but, Mr. Carter, do you know where my daughter is?
I'm sorry, Mr. Evans, I don't. But I expect to know very soon.
Oh.
Come on, Penny. Let's get down the hall and let those thugs tell us where Patsy is.
Whatever you say, Nick.
What do I do then, boy? Yeah, all right.
Hold it, Benny. I'll turn the knob on the door very gently. Then when I give the word,
Okay,
we'll rush them, just in case there may be more than two in there.
Whatever you say, Nick.
Easy now.
Yeah, all
Right. Get your hands up, all of you.
What is it? Oh, nice shooting, Nick. He should have known better than to pull a gun on you.
All right, you get up. It's only your wrists that's hurt. Come on, get up. Now drop your guns on the floor. Come on, let's have 'em. Now then. What have you crooks done with my assistant, Patsy? You heard what I said. What have you done with her?
We don't know nothing about her.
No? Well, maybe you don't know it, mister, but when I get mad, I can be dirty and mean, and somebody gets hurt. Now, where is she?
I tell you, we don't know anything.
Butler!
It's Winslow again. Penny, keep a gun on these two. If they open their mouths, let them have it, and shoot to kill.
Butler, why don't you answer me?
Pardon, senor. We are having a conference. We did not expect you until later. You are coming in here?
I just wanted to tell you that I don't expect to be...
Put him up, Mr. Winslow. I'll do the telling from now on.
Why, what's the meaning of this, Mr. Carter? You can't...
Shut up. Where's Patsy?
Where's who?
You heard me. What have you done with my assistant, Patsy Boone?
I don't know anything
No?
about...
Where is she?
No, don't.
Where is she?
Don't. You'll break my arm. Stop.
For the last time, where is she?
Oh, stop it. Stop it. I'll tell you. Oh, my arm.
Well?
Oh, she's upstairs. Second floor, back bedroom.
Door locked, I suppose.
Oh, I'll get her, Nick. I took the butler's keys away from him.
Good boy, Penny. Make it snappy. I'll watch these two for a nickel thugs.
Yeah, whatever you say, Nick.
All right, Winslow. Get over against the wall with the rest of you cheap bums. And if you've hurt one single hair on Patsy's head, you'll be lucky if you live long enough for me to turn you over to the police.
She's all right. We did nothing to her at all.
Lucky for you. Tell me, Winslow, why'd you throw Evans off the ferry boat? Wouldn't it have been easier to have kidnapped him someplace else?
I had the ferries watched for several days and found at the time of night, in the bitter cold weather we've been having, the rear deck of the ferry's almost always deserted. So we planned it that way. We had other plans ready in case that didn't work out.
Oh, Nick, am I glad to see you.
Oh, Patsy, are you all right? Anybody hurt you?
No, Nick. They were a little rough, but they got as good as they gave me. Look at that black eye on the guy on the left.
Good for you, Patsy.
Hey, Nick, after I got Patsy loose, I looked in some of the other rooms, and I found this dame in the front room up there. Says she's Marion Blake.
My name is Marion Blake.
You're not Marion Blake. You're Alice Evans.
No, I'm not Alice Evans. I'm Marion Blake.
Aren't you saying that you're Marion Blake because you're afraid the gang will hurt your father if you admit you are really Alice Evans?
What?
Well, you're quite safe now, Miss Evans. Oh, Mr. Evans.
Yes?
Will you come in here, please?
Why, yes, Mr. Carter.
My father here. And free.
Yes, Miss Evans. Here he is.
Oh, Alice, my dear. Oh, I've been
Penny,
so worried about you.
you better go get Riley.
Are you
You'll find him
all right?
waiting just around the corner. He can take over now.
Didn't tell me where you were. Mr. Carter, I can never thank you enough for what you've done. We owe you our lives, Alice and I.
You don't owe me anything, Mr. Evans. Getting rats like these out of circulation gives me more satisfaction than anything else ever could. This is your room. You two wait here till I call you.
Come in.
Good morning, Miss Evans.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Carter. Have you discovered anything about my father?
I was about to ask you the same question. Have you heard from him?
No, Mr. Carter. Nothing.
Well, let me be the first to bring you the good news.
Good news?
Yes. Your father has been found.
He's been found?
Yes. He was kidnapped and imprisoned by some crooks who were trying to steal his fortune.
Oh, my poor father. Where was he found?
In a basement room where the gang was keeping him prisoner.
Has Has he told you what happened to him?
Oh, yes. He told us everything.
Everything?
Oh, by the way, Miss Evans, I brought a friend with me this morning. I thought you might like to meet her. May I ask her in?
Yes. Yes, of course.
Alan, will you bring the young lady in?
Okay, Nick.
Do you recognize this young lady, Miss Evans?
All right, Mr. Carter. You can drop that Miss Evans stuff now. I see you know the whole story.
Practically the whole story, yes. Oh, Alice, have you met the real Marion Blake?
No, I haven't. My goodness, she does look like me, doesn't she?
Yes, but you didn't fool me, dear.
No, I suppose I was crazy to believe that I could fool a man who was as much in love with you as he is, Miss Evans. The resemblance is certainly close enough to fool almost anyone else, though. Why, she even sounds like me.
Miss Blake, whose idea was it to substitute you for Alice Evans?
My husband's. He was the head of a Chicago gang. Saw a picture in the paper, and the idea came to him. Her coming back from South America seemed to be the ideal setup for carrying out the scheme, so we came east to do it. We knew Winslow from a couple of jobs we did for him in Chicago. Didn't it occur to your husband that when you threw my father off the ferry, he might get pneumonia in the icy water and die? We didn't worry about that. We knew he'd live long enough for what we wanted. Why, you cold-blooded...
Alice, take it easy.
But did you hear what she...
That's all over with, dear. The police will take care of her now.
I'm not usually bloodthirsty, but I hope she gets the electric chair.
Well, the chair's hardly the sentence for attempted extortion, Alice. But by the time she gets out of jail, she'll no longer be young and pretty. And with the marks that prison will leave on her, she'll never again be able to double for you.
This was another strange experience of Nick Carter, Master Detective, called The Substitute Bride, or Nick Carter and the Mystery of the Night Ferry. Another of the curious adventures of Nick Carter, which are brought to you regularly at this time by WOR Mutual. And now, Nick, what strange adventure are you and Patsy going to tell us about next week?
Next week, I want to tell you about a case that never seemed to be twice the same.
What do you mean by that, Nick?
Well, what Nick means is this. The case started out as a suicide, turned into a murder, and then disappeared entirely.
And I disappeared with it.
Well, all this sounds very screwy to me. Are you sure you're talking about next week's story?
Nothing else but. But I'm afraid that if you want any more details, you'll have to listen to the story itself.
And if you're wise, you won't miss it. It's one of our best.
That it is. But for now, so long, folks.
So long.
And so long to you both until next week. In the strange adventure you have just heard, Nick Carter was impersonated by Lon Clark, Patsy by Helen Choate. Original music was played by Lou White. The entire production was written and directed by Jock McGregor. Next week, at the same time, listen to another curious experience of Nick Carter entitled
The Disappearing Corpse, or Nick Carter and the Mystery of the Apartment House Murder.
This story is a copyrighted feature of Street and Smith Publications, Incorporated. The Return of Nick Carter is produced in the studios of WOR and is broadcast over most of these stations every Wednesday evening at 8:30 Eastern War Time. This is Mutual.
One of old-time radio's longest-running and most popular programs, CBS Mystery Theater, is up next.
It was Sigmund Freud, the master himself, who said, "The great question, which I have not been able to answer, despite my 30 years of research into the feminine soul, is, what does a woman want?" Well, such a question may have disturbed the immortal doctor, but not the man you are about to meet. His name is Silas Cunningham. And if you were to ask him, What does a woman want? Silas Cunningham would look at you in all sincerity and say,
Well, every woman I've ever met has always wanted me.
And it's evidently true. Because there is one woman who wants Silas forever, even after she's dead.
Go in with her now, Silas. Is she better, Doctor? No. But Dr. Pearson... Go see her now, while you can.
Silas? Is that you?
Yes, darling.
Oh, I want to tell you.
Please, Julia, please, save your strength.
I have nothing to save my strength for. Listen to me. I'll be here.
Of course you'll be here. You'll get better.
I'll be here after I'm dead.
Darling, I
I'll
don't even...
be in this room. In this room. Our room. I love it so much.
Yes, darling.
Oh, no one will see me, but you'll see me.
Yes, dear.
No one will hear me, but you'll hear me. You believe that, don't you? Don't you?
Yes, I believe it.
Oh, darling, we love each other so much. We will not. We refuse to be parted, even by death. Oh, hold my hand.
Oh, my darling Julia.
I'll come back to you, Silas. I'll never leave you. I'll never leave you.
Julia. Doctor Pearson. Hello, Marilyn.
I was afraid.
Of what?
I'd be stood
Now,
up.
when did I ever break a date with you, darling?
Why are you late?
I didn't take the early train to town.
Why not?
Well, I begin each day with a visit to Julia's grave.
Really, sir?
Yes, I arrive each morning at 9 and sit an hour.
And do what?
Meditate.
You're such a fraud.
Marilyn, darling, how can you say that?
I suppose everyone in the village knows about it.
Oh, yes. The talk of the town seems to be how grief-stricken I am.
You have absolutely no moral.
But it's true, dear. I am grief-stricken.
After the way she drove you crazy? Or was all that just talk? For my benefit?
Oh, Julia was all right, in her way. She made very few demands of me. If it weren't for that occult nonsense she was all wrapped up in, I could have even been happy.
Why is it so important for you to create this appearance of the bereaved and ravaged lover?
Well, when very rich wives die young, certain nasty-minded, suspicious persons may begin to formulate all sorts of evil thoughts.
I understand.
And so for a year or so, there should be a show of decorum.
I still have the apartment.
But there's no reason why we shouldn't enjoy the estate. Boating, tennis, so much to do. Darling, I want you out there.
But doesn't that go against...
No, because you see, I decided to write a book.
Book?
Yes, and I'll need an editorial assistant.
You're going to write a book? About what?
About the occult, the supernatural, the very strong possibilities of communication with the dead.
But you know as well as I do that that's all nonsense.
Now, please, dear. This book is to be dedicated to the memory of my beloved wife.
Silence.
Now, you have had considerable experience in the publishing field. You were Julia's very best friend. And besides, as far as outward appearances go, we shall be impeccably chaperoned.
By whom?
By the redoubtable Mrs. Watson herself. I shall ask her to stay on as housekeeper.
Mrs. Watson. Madam Hatchet-Face.
But, darling, she radiates respectability from every pore.
When do I report for duty?
Saturday. Call when you're ready. I'll have Hastings drive into town and pick you up.
Well, here's to the book.
And, to other things.
Mr. Cunningham, I brought you some nice hot tea. Oh, come now. You must have something. Oh, look, I know how you feel. Everyone knew. It was a real love match, you and that wonderful lady, Mr. Soul. But would Julia Cunningham want you to despair like this?
Thank you, Mrs. Watson. What would I do without you?
Good evening, Silas.
Oh, Dr. Pearson.
You want to fetch me a cup of that tea, Miss Watson?
Yes, Doctor.
Thank you. Mrs. Watson says you don't eat. Thought I'd stop by to see if you're all right.
Oh, I'm fine.
I'm worried about you.
Me?
Your marriage was something special, Silas.
Well, every marriage is special.
You and Julia. No two people ever seem to be more close, more content, more in love.
She was everything to me, Doctor. Everything.
In a marriage like yours, when one partner goes, well, sometimes the other one loses all interest in life. Now, don't let it happen to you, Silas.
No, I don't care much about anything right now, Doctor.
Get hold of yourself. Don't let your mind wander. Don't shut yourself away. Life must go on. And it can be quite a life for you. She came into all her money last year.
You know, I'd give every penny to bring her back.
Yeah, you would. That's what worries me.
What are you saying, Doctor?
Julia was very much taken with the idea of being able to communicate with the dead.
It was a very sincere belief.
I'm sure you discussed it. Even decided that in the event one of you died, there'd be an attempt at communication from beyond the grave.
Doctor, this is a very personal and private matter between Julia and me.
I notice you say is instead of was.
I'd rather we don't discuss it.
In those final feverish moments, she talked about it. She said...
I know what she said.
She said her spirit would always be in her room.
Doctor, why do you insist on...
Because it's hokum. Sane, sensible people know these things simply can't happen, period.
Well, don't you worry about it.
I worry because in this world there are all sorts of unscrupulous confidence operators who prey upon vulnerable people. People like you.
Well, I can take care of myself.
Your tray, Dr. Pearson.
Oh. Well, one thing's in your favor. Mrs. Watson's staying on, and she's the most level-headed person I know. Mrs. Watson, can I depend on you to keep Mr. Cunningham here out of trouble?
Yes, Doctor. You can depend on it. And you can depend on me.
Mr. Cunningham...
I've got a beat on them now. Oh, darn, I missed him again. Oh, well. It's too nice a day to hit anything anyhow. I just feel like making some noise in the woods.
Mr. Cunningham...
What is it, Hastings?
Well, I don't know. I got to talk to you. I mean, I don't know what...
Why don't you start at the beginning, Hastings?
Yes, sir. Look, you know what's just happened to me, Mr. Cunningham?
No. What happened?
Well, I've been fired.
Fired? Now, how could you be fired?
Well, that's what I can't figure.
Well, who in the world could have fired you, Hastings?
Old Lady Iron Pants. I mean, Mrs. Watson.
Well, why?
Well, I don't know. She comes up to me and she says, Hastings, you're finished. Here's your money. Get out of here. Just like that.
Well, I don't understand why.
Well, she figures if Mrs. Cunningham passed away, she can rule the roost, you know what I mean? She's always had it in for me anyhow.
Why, Hastings?
Well, I guess I'd pop off about her.
Pop off? How?
Well, I was only kidding, but it was about sex.
Sex? Oh, come on now, Hastings. Why would anyone talk that way with Mrs. Watson? Why, she must be at least,
Yeah? How old do you think she is?
Well, late 50s, even 60, maybe over.
Next time, take a good look. She ain't even 40 yet. And she's been a widow 18 years.
Oh. Well, I'm sure we can adjust the matter.
Well, I told her to go soak ahead. I told her, Mr. Cunningham hired me. Therefore, only Mr. Cunningham can fire me. Is that right?
Yes, Hastings. That's right. Now, you go back to the garage. You'll have to go to the city this afternoon.
If I'm to perform my duties in a satisfactory manner, I must have the right to hire and fire Mr. Cunningham.
Yes, of course, Mrs. Watson. It's just that Hastings has been with us for such a long time.
I dismissed him for good cause. He's a thief.
A thief?
I found out. He's been getting together with some of the service places in town. We've been paying bills for repairs that were never made, for gasoline that we never bought.
Oh? Are you sure?
I'm positive. The sooner he's off the premises, the better for all concerned.
Well, it's just that I would want him to drive into the city this afternoon.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I'm expecting a call from Mrs. Ralston.
Marilyn Ralston, of course. She called while you were out shooting.
Oh? Did she say what time she wants to be picked up? If we fire Hastings, I'll drive in myself.
Oh, that won't be necessary, Mr. Cunningham.
What do you mean?
She isn't coming out this afternoon.
Oh. Something the matter?
Or any afternoon, for that matter.
Well, why? Did she suddenly change her mind?
No. But I told her that you had changed yours.
What are you talking about, Mrs. Watson? I never told you I changed
It wasn't necessary for you to tell me, sir. I acted in your best interests.
Mrs. Watson, I'm very capable of determining my best interests. And furthermore...
Yes, Mr. Cunningham. What are you staring at?
That bracelet.
Yes, this bracelet.
Well, how dare you, Mrs. Watson? That was my wife's bracelet.
I know.
Well, what right do you have to wear...
She told me I could have it. She whispered it to me.
Well, that's a lie.
The day she died.
It isn't true.
The day she died of, what did the good Dr. Pearson say? An infection? Nobody questioned dear Dr. Pearson's diagnosis. How fortunate he signed the death certificate without questioning it himself.
Now, you couldn't prove anything.
Of course not. I couldn't prove anything, but... Now, if they were to exhume the body and perform certain tests... but they'd never do it. Unless someone suggested it strongly. And as of right now... I don't plan to suggest it.
Well, there you are. You get what you consider to be the perfect setup for the perfect murder. You get rid of a woman who is a thorn in your side, only to discover you've just acquired one who could be a rope around your neck. The rope either gets tightened or loosened. On her deathbed, Julia Cunningham promised her husband Silas she would communicate with him from the other world. However, it now develops that Silas may have more trouble than he can handle in this world. It seems that Mrs. Watson, the faithful housekeeper, has discovered that Silas had actually hastened Julia's exit from what is sometimes described as this veil of tears.
Mrs. Watson, what makes you think I would have something to fear from an autopsy?
Isn't it obvious?
Isn't what obvious?
The situation we find ourselves in. Now, if you didn't fear an autopsy, this bracelet would be off my arm, you'd fire me on the spot, and I would be out on my ear. Now, I know.
Just what do you know?
I know I was right about the bottle of poison.
What bottle of poison?
Oh, come, sir. It was in your room. I made a few discreet inquiries. I learned from a doctor that small, steady doses could produce symptoms which might appear to indicate an intestinal infection, and it would be treated as such until suddenly the patient would die. Incidentally, that doctor was not Dr. Pearson.
And, just how would I be implicated?
Well, if I were to voice my suspicions strenuously enough, and if the coroner should find poison...
Oh, I see. Isn't it your duty as a reputable citizen to report this?
Yes, it is.
Why haven't you done so?
Well, I could set in motion a chain of events that could place you on a scaffold or in a prison for life. And I asked myself, now, what would be in all this for me?
Well, the satisfaction that you had performed your duty as a responsible citizen of a democracy.
Oh, I've been doing that all my life, and I have very little to show for it. And so I said to myself, Vera? I'll wager you didn't know my first name was Vera.
Well, to be honest, I didn't even know you had a first name.
That's true. To you, I've always been the invisible Mrs. Watson. And so, for the first time in my life, I did something different, unusual, unprecedented.
And what was that?
For once, I thought about me, my own welfare. You see, Mr. Cunningham, you had committed the perfect crime.
Well, how? You seem to have detected it.
Oh, the key element. Dr. Pearson. Old, fumbling, superannuated Dr. Pearson.
Well, he's not all that incompetent.
Oh, no. He's merely obsolete. And you counted on that. You counted on him accepting your wife's death as a purely natural event and getting a death certificate without an autopsy.
Well, Mrs. Watson, now what? I assume you intend to blackmail me.
Well, that's a harsh word.
How much money do you want?
Oh, I don't want any money.
You don't want any money?
No.
Well, then what do you want?
I want you.
You want me?
Yes.
What does that mean?
What do you think it means? I want to be Mrs. Silas Cunningham.
Would you mind saying that again?
I think you heard it.
Yes, I heard it. I can't believe it.
You know, people like you are completely unaware of people like me as human beings. Our mission in life is to serve, to be useful, to cater to all your creature concerns. But I have feelings. I have desires, emotions, yearnings.
Well,
I'm only 3 years older than you are. That's young enough. There's still time enough for me to enjoy a rich, exciting life.
I've heard of shotgun weddings.
But why turn you over to the police? I have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Finally, Vera Watson, you too can become somebody. Nobody's maid, nobody's servant. Cross the line.
You know, I wish I could say I admire you.
Oh, well, we'll let a year go by, a decent interval, and then we'll announce our engagement.
I can assure you, Mrs. Watson, you're hardly my type.
Perhaps. But you're mine, and after a while, I'll become yours.
You think so?
Oh, you'll come to value me when you know me better. Oh, by the way.
Yes?
Unlike so many women in love, Mr. Cunningham, I'm not blind. For example, I see how you've been glancing at your shotgun.
Oh, have I been doing that?
Well, I wouldn't recommend anything hasty, sir. You see, I've written a letter to my sister. It's to be opened in the event of my death. Need I say more?
No. I think you've said quite enough.
Darling. Silas.
Why? Oh, must have been dreaming.
Silas.
Who is that?
Silas.
Julia.
I said I'd come back to our room.
Julia.
Silas. Darling. Why did you kill me?
Julia, I didn't.
My darling, you mustn't lie to me.
But, Julia.
I've come from such a long way. Don't lie to me.
Julia, please.
Why did you kill me?
Julia, I didn't.
Oh, Silas, it was for nothing.
Julia, I didn't mean to. I must have been crazy.
It was for nothing. Will you be better off with her? Will you kill her, too?
Julia, please, will you listen to me?
Will you kill her?
Julia, I didn't know what I was doing.
Silas, you'll have no rest, no peace Did you kill her, too?
Julia, please. Julia.
Mr.
I
Cunningham.
didn't mean to kill you, Julia.
Be quiet.
I didn't mean it, Julia.
Shut up, sir.
What are you doing in here? What did you slap me for?
It's a good thing none of the servants sleep on this side of the house. You were having a nightmare.
No, she was here. Julia was here. I saw her. I heard her.
Snap out of it.
You don't understand.
Can't you understand? You were screaming that you murdered her. All we need is for someone to hear that.
But it was so real.
Oh, look, you've got to get hold of yourself. Because if you don't, we're going to have a problem.
Yes, you're right.
Well, at least you're beginning to see how much you need a woman like me. You must keep your sanity. And I can help you do it.
Now, listen.
No,
please.
not now. Now, you take this sleeping pill and get yourself some rest.
Doctor, I'm fine. I'm just fine.
But you don't go anywhere. You don't do anything.
Well, I don't care to.
Silas, you've lost your color. You look thinner. You've got to develop an interest in life once again.
I'll be all right.
Silas, you're not getting all twisted up in that occult business, are you? You're not getting visits, I hope.
Doctor, I loved my wife very much. And I still haven't recovered from the shock of having lost her. And I wish that everyone would let me alone.
All right, Silas. I'll leave you some vitamins.
Oh, Mr. Cunningham. Oh, good morning, Dr. Pearson.
Good morning, Miss Watson. Our friend here looks a bit peaked. Hasn't been eating much, I bet.
No, but I'm on my way to town to buy some things to tempt his appetite.
I'll give you a lift.
Oh, thank you. I just have to stop by the kitchen to leave some instructions.
I'll see you outside in a couple of minutes. You know, Silas, something's different about that woman.
Different?
No.
In what way?
Well, for one thing, she looks much younger. For another, she's not too bad looking.
I hadn't noticed.
Something's come over her. Now, what do you suppose it could be?
I haven't the faintest idea. Hello?
Hello? Is Mrs. Watson there, please?
No, I'm sorry. She's out.
Oh. Well, will she be back soon?
Well, it's hard to say. She's downtown shopping.
Oh, could you take a message for her?
Yes?
I'm her sister. Her sister Emma. It's about the letter.
The letter?
A couple of weeks ago, she gave me a letter. And she said I was to open it only in case she'll know which letter I mean.
Yes.
Well, tell her the letter's gone.
Oh?
I put it in a wooden box with some of my things, and we had a fire in the house, and everything's been destroyed.
Oh, I see.
So, I don't have the letter anymore. And if it was very important, she'd better send me another one. Would you tell her that?
Yes, certainly.
Thank you.
Don't mention that. Good evening, Mrs. Watson.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Cunningham.
Is this how you spend your evenings, Mrs. Watson? Knitting?
Knitting, reading, listening to music.
Well, I've often wondered what you did with your time.
Oh, that's not true. I don't imagine you ever gave me a second thought.
Well, for better or worse. Do you know what I like to do on a lovely night like this?
No.
Go out in a boat.
Well, why don't you?
Well, I never cared to go out alone.
Are you asking me to go with you?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, it's part of my courtship, Mrs. Watson.
You are a remarkable man, Mr. Cunningham.
And you are a remarkable woman. You know, actually, you were right the other night. You're the woman I need. The woman who can hold me in balance. Vera.
Vera?
Yes, Vera. You know, I have the feeling that I'm falling in love with you, Vera.
Mr. Cunningham.
My name is Silas.
Silas.
Vera, I need you I need your strength and your good sense.
Well, we'll be very good for each other. You'll see.
Oh, yes. Yes, you'll supply the common sense and I'll supply the romance. Now, how about that boat ride?
Oh, I'm very happy. Oh, Silas, life is so unpredictable, isn't it?
Yes, that's the one thing you can say for sure.
A month ago, who would believe it? You and I would be drifting along out here, close together.
You know, it's getting a bit late.
Oh, do we have to go back in now?
Well, we better. The breeze is freshening. We may be in for a gale. You wouldn't want to be blown out to sea, would you?
Oh, no. Well, we must do this more often. Silas?
Yes.
So where are we headed? I mean, we're not going toward shore.
That's right.
But you said...
What did I say?
Well, that it was time to go home.
I'm going home.
Silas...
What am I saying? What I'm saying is there's no one within miles, and this should be far enough.
Far enough for what?
Well, you see, you took the boat out tonight all by yourself. And I guess you fell overboard.
Silas!
And here you go.
No, you must have forgotten my letter to my sister. Don't! Silas! I can't swim!
Yes, I know.
I can't swim! Silas!
Oh, I forgot to tell you. You had a phone call from your sister.
I can't
answered the phone and said you told her...
Marilyn, please. Speak gently of her. She's gone. You see, she had an accident last week. She went out in the boat. And she drowned. It was a terrible thing.
But why did you instruct her to tell me to forget all about you?
Darling, I can explain everything.
Well, it had better be a fantastic explanation.
Still want to see me?
Well, I shouldn't.
But?
How long will it take you to get here?
Give me an hour.
Hurry, darling.
Sure thing.
Well.
What?
Looks as if that poor girl's going to get stood up again.
Well, who are you?
It's a good idea for the two of you to be seen together.
Now, wait just 1 minute. What are you doing here? Who are you?
How do you do, sir? I'm your new housekeeper.
Now, see here.
Let's cut this nonsense. I'm your new housekeeper for a very good reason. My name is Emma.
Emma?
You remember? Emma? Vera Watson's sister.
Oh.
Oh. And the reason I'm your new housekeeper is because I found the letter.
First, Julia cramped his style. Goodbye, Julia. Then Vera Watson had him cornered. Goodbye, Vera. Now, here comes Emma. It never rains, it pours. What are we going to do about Emma? How does Silas Cunningham keep track of all his women? They all fall madly in love with him. They all want him. How does he manage them? Well, some of them have accidents. For example, his wife died of a stomachache. His housekeeper drowned. It seems she went out in the boat by herself and fell overboard. Or anyhow, that's what the sheriff thinks. Now, the latest woman who has entered his life is
Emma.
That's right. Emma.
Yes, I spoke to you on the telephone.
That's right. And I told you about the letter.
Uh-huh. What are you doing here?
I didn't think there was anything to that letter.
Well, there isn't.
Oh, Silas. Silas. When I read that my poor sister, well, actually, she's my stepsister, had drowned.
Well, you know, she shouldn't have gone out in that boat alone.
Oh, she didn't go out in the boat alone, Silas. You went out in the boat with her. What did you do? Throw her overboard?
Now, you can't prove that.
I don't have to prove that. I still know about the other thing.
All right, let's get this over with, huh? How much do you want?
Ooh. You don't catch on at all, Silas.
What do you mean?
I think you're kind of cute.
Oh.
Good.
You know, you're obviously an intelligent woman. Why don't we make a settlement?
What did you have in mind?
Well,
Before you tell me, let me tell you what I had in mind. I can marry you, then sue you for divorce and strip you clean.
You know, you drive a hard bargain.
You'd have been better off with Vera.
I'd have been better off with Julia.
Silas!
Yes. Yes?
Silas! I'm here.
Oh, no, go away.
It's Julia, darling. It's me, Julia.
What? Julia, please, what do you want of me? What do you want?
Silas, darling.
What do you want?
I'm keeping our promise. We will not be parted by death.
I killed you.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, Julia.
Oh, foolish Silas.
Oh, Julia.
Love is immortal, invincible. Nothing can destroy love. Love lives forever.
Oh, Julia, I was so stupid. I don't know what happened to me. It just keeps getting worse and worse for me.
I know. You had to kill poor Mrs. Watson.
Yes, and now I'll have to kill this horrible woman, this Emma.
Yes, you must kill her before she destroys you.
But how? How can I kill her, Julia? How?
Darling, it's so simple. Think.
How?
Think.
Tell me, Julia. Please tell me.
The poison.
The poison?
Hide the bottle in her room and take a little bit yourself every day, just as you did with me.
But, Julia, you died.
But you stop in time. Call the doctor. Complain. Tell him you think you're being poisoned. They'll discover the bottle in her room.
Oh, Julia, please don't think she was trying to poison me.
Yes, darling. You see how simple it is?
Well, why would she want to poison me?
Why did Mrs. Watson want to poison me?
Mrs. Watson?
Of course. It was Mrs. Watson. Don't you see? Emma was finishing the job her sister started. I'm dead. Now they find poison in your system. The bottle in her room.
Oh, Julia, please. My darling, Julia, please. My beloved, Julia.
What's going on in here?
Julia.
Hey, snap out of it. You're having a bad dream.
No, that was not a dream.
Okay, have it your way.
Now, don't you humor me. I saw her. She was right here.
Oh, sure.
She's keeping her promise.
Her promise?
Yes, she said she'd come back, and she told me how I could... She told me. It's wonderful.
Oh, this is terrific. Keep it up.
Keep what up?
Oh, what you're doing now? And after we get married, I can have you put away in the nut house.
No. She was right here. You can laugh all you like, but she was here.
Oh, sure she was. And she was wearing a white dress with blue shoes and a green hat, and there were little men 7 inches tall with heads like pancakes.
Shut up.
What?
And get out of here. Don't you dare insult the memory of my wife.
You better be careful how you talk to me, Silas.
Why?
You know what I can do.
Yes, but that's all you can do.
Oh, I can put you on a scaffold.
You do that, and you won't get 1 single cent.
You're bluffing.
Am I? Call it.
Silas, honey, we're stuck with each other. Why not make the best of it?
We may be stuck, my dear, but not for long.
Good morning, Silas.
Good morning.
I hope you feel better today.
I don't.
Breakfast?
No, just coffee.
You haven't hardly eaten a thing for the last 3 days. You got me worried.
Worried?
Yeah, you're my meal ticket. I don't want anything to go wrong with you. Besides, as I said the first day I met you, you're cute.
I don't think I'll have any more coffee either.
What's the matter?
Nothing.
But it has to be something.
Oh, well, I have these pains.
What kind of pain?
I don't know. Just pains.
Well, where?
Everywhere.
Did you want me to call the doctor?
No, not yet.
Not yet? What are you waiting for?
I'm waiting for just exactly the right time.
What do you mean by just exactly the right time?
There's an exactly right time for everything. Now, I better go upstairs and lie down.
Can you manage?
No, I can manage. I can manage everything.
Dr. Pearson?
Doctor, this is Emma. Mr. Cunningham's housekeeper.
What is it, Emma?
Dr. Pearson, Mr. Cunningham's been sick the past 4 or 5 days.
Sick? What do you mean?
Well, he can't eat. He has pains. He looks kind of feverish to me.
Why didn't he call me?
I said to him, call the doctor. But he said he wanted to wait.
Wait for what?
Well, he said he wanted to wait for just exactly the right time.
I'll be right there.
Julia, why does it hurt so much now? This is only the 4th day after taking the poison. You needed 10. Oh, is it supposed to be this bad? Julia, please. Please come here and talk to me. I'm going to call Dr. Pearson now. I better not wait any longer. Oh, I better call. Maybe my system is different. I only took a little bit. Julia, please. Where are you?
I'm here, Silas. Here.
Is this how it was with you?
Yes, darling.
I can't stand it.
Neither could I. That's why I let go.
Let go?
Yes, darling. Let go.
I can't take it anymore.
I know. But don't keep fighting it.
But I have to hold out until Pearson gets here.
He can't save you, darling. No one, nothing can save you now.
Oh, Julia.
Oh, come with me, darling.
Where?
It won't hurt you anymore.
Oh.
Here. Hold my hand. Now, come. Sit up.
I don't have the strength.
You do.
No.
See? And now, walk. Walk with me.
Oh, Julia, I can't stand the pain.
Oh, just a few more steps, darling. A few more steps. That's it.
Silas, get away from that window, you fall.
Now, let go, darling. You can let go.
Oh, Julia.
Well, Emma, it's obvious. What killed him was a skull fracture. He fell out of the window and hit his head on a rock. Poor Silas. What was he doing near the window, Emma?
I don't know.
Well, did he say anything?
He just called Julia.
Julia. Yes. Well, he simply never got over her death. I suppose he couldn't accept it. Julia.
It was as if he could see her.
Yeah, maybe it's for the best. There was really no living for him without her. You know that.
Yes, Doctor.
Never knew him even to look at another woman.
Is that right, Doctor?
A very unusual man.
That's true, Doctor.
He's the kind of exceptional person you meet so rarely in this world. All of us will be the poorer for his loss.
You can say that again, Doctor. All of us will be the poorer.
Well, you know what they say. De mortuis nil nisi bonum. which means only speak nice things about the dead. And after all, Silas Cunningham paid the price. Ironic, isn't it? So many men envied him his fantastic good looks and his successful way with women. It shows you can have too much of a good thing, but you cannot have too much of Mystery Theater. Our cast included Larry Haynes, Evie Justice, and Guy Sorrell. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
The preceding Mystery Theater program is furnished by the CBS Radio Network. This is WOR New York, an RKO General Station. At the WOR time signal, exactly 8 o'clock, here's John Scott with the
Bye.